Hello and welcome to the Con Couple. I'm Richard,
I'm Caroline.
and we go to a frankly bizarre number of cons every year.
I would say we go to too few conventions.
You can tell it's like the end of the summer con season because you actually did the intro properly.
I just like throwing you off by doing it properly sometimes.
Hi everybody, we were at Key City Steampunk this week.
We were.
And as mentioned, this is probably going to be the last big con of the summer.
Yeah, which was kind of annoying because people were asking us all week what the next con we were going to do is, and I actually don't know at this point.
No.
As we mentioned earlier, we're a little between IFC and Missouri, neither of which have released their schedules yet, so I don't know.
Yep. Both of those are on the, we'll be doing one of them.
Yep.
We just haven't decided which one. As we've mentioned before, part of the issue is just IFC, I'll definitely have to take a day off for. Matsuri kind of doesn't have enough stuff on Friday for us to warrant that, so I just go down after work. And again, IFC is going to cost more because we'd have to get an Airbnb and all that jazz. And it's but at the same time, it probably will be a better con.
Yeah, it's going to depend who's there, what the schedule is. Blotty-blotty-blue.
So yeah.
For the next 3 weeks, though, we're at back to school time, boo. So, and also figure out setting up the house time, boo. And, well, that actually would be kind of fun, but you know. So we're probably going to do smaller events, more local festivals, things like that are one-day events. This also saves us a little bit of money.
Yep.
And for longtime listeners of this podcast, since we've been doing it a year and a half now, you know that summer generally tends to be the busiest con season. So fall, I think, is more busy than winter, less busy than spring, and summer is the busiest if we want to do a quick ranking of them. So
pretty much, yeah. Nobody wants to host cons in winter, which my response is, your events are mostly indoors.
Yep.
It's a thing we can actually do in winter. So yeah, more winter cons, please.
Yes. Especially over Christmas. Everyone's just like, you want to spend time with your family. No, I don't. I never want to spend time with my family.
I don't want to spend time with my family.
Your family's on a different continent.
I was going to say, they're frequently in the wrong country. Well, we'll need to figure out if we're going to invite them over again this year or what, but we'll figure that out.
So yeah, this will be a little bit of a loosey-goosey episode, as you can tell by our... this is the thing, is when I mess up the intro, we actually get on track way quicker than when I don't mess up the intro.
Keep telling yourself that. So yeah, so, generally speaking, this will be the last, big con for a little bit. But we'll figure it out as we go.
Yeah, and it's not that big of a con. It is one of the bigger ones in the steampunk scene, though.
It is. And
the thing that impresses me is that even though steampunk cons are small, they do have a lot of people who do travel out of state and on planes for them generally.
Yep.
This one tends to be fairly local, but you still get people who are on planes flying to them from a bunch of different places.
Oh, yeah. And again, I don't think we were the only people who were driving multiple hours for this one. In case you're curious, the drive for this one's about 5-ish hours, give or take. Because this one's hosted in Gettysburg.
Yep. Gettysburg, if you're familiar with it, because I assume 99.9% of our audience is American.
Yep. It's a pain in the butt to get to.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously the site of the famous historic battle, and it's a fairly popular tourist destination among the Civil War crowd for that reason. There are two types of Civil War history buffs, one of which is problematic, the other which is not. There's only two, though. So.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't really know the history of the con or why it was in Gettysburg initially.
Not a clue.
The hotel's very cool, though. It's obviously themed around Gettysburg.
Yeah, it's the Wyndham.
Yep.
In case you're curious, in Gettysburg. And, yeah, so this is our third year going to this con.
Yep.
And second year when it's on the podcast.
Yep.
We're doing the podcast.
And I was honestly half and half on this one this year. We got invited to be on a panel. So we decided it was worth the trip for that reason. I'm incredibly glad we went.
Yeah.
I do kind of love that we're bookending the year with a steampunk con and another steampunk con. Although we did get some, I think, kind of unfortunate news about Bourbon City.
Yeah, Bourbon City is apparently struggling a little bit. They're not at the point yet where they're making money, which is not at all uncommon for new cons. But they're kind of looking at next year and trying to figure out what the best way forward is for them.
Yep.
So hopefully they are able to continue.
Yeah. I will admit my kind of personal preferences. I do want them to put on an event next year. I really want them to change whatever dates they're looking at. Because right now it's, I think, the same first week of June that Colossal Con is currently scheduled at, and a week before Chicago City Steampunk Expo, which is
that's one of the big ones.
Yeah.
In the steampunk scene. So yeah, it's just, I don't think that will be a good weekend for them. And again, I maintain part of their problem is just they have not had a consistent weekend ever. Which I suspect is just when they can get the hotel.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know they've been trying. I also, I will admit I'm not quite as in people, or I don't have as intimate a knowledge with various con chairs as I do in, I think, some of the smaller tabletop cons or some of the furry cons where I can't just talk to them directly. But I've heard a few various cross rumors about various things. Like, I know that Cincinnati Steampunk Expo was a con that we went to before we started this podcast. We went effectively like last year that they had it, and then Bourbon City, which was originally called River City, started the year after that.
Yeah.
And I think I assume that was in kind of talking with each other generally. From what I can tell, or at least what I've heard about Chicago City Steampunk Expos, I think the person who was running that just had health problems and couldn't continue. Yeah, Cincinnati, sorry. And couldn't continue doing it. And I think Bourbon City was meant to be the replacement for that, although because it's in a different location, it's moved time several years, I don't think it's ever quite found its footing.
Yeah. I'm hoping they do.
I'm really hoping they do too. Like, I know both sci-fi and steampunk are struggling right now, and neither should be.
Neither should be. They're both fantastic, and there's also a lot of crossover between those two communities. Like, we saw several steampunk Starfleet uniforms today, which that just hits all of my buttons. Mm-hmm. Like, I adore that. So yeah, again, steampunk is a community that we absolutely love and adore. Like, this is one where we spent an hour at the end of our last day just talking to people and saying goodbye to them.
Yeah, the steampunk community is incredibly wonderful generally. Like, there are probably also a community that I think we're both closest to being a fan of. Like, you're definitely more of a fan of sci-fi than I am.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, cool, a con.
Yep.
But steampunk aesthetic is always something I have been drawn to generally. And it was interesting talking to this con that apparently it did go, I think, through a sort of revival period around 2010, during the kind of Tumblr era where that aesthetic was, I think, more popular. Mm-hmm. But it's just because I don't think it was attached to a particular piece of media, it's been harder to keep those fans in the community.
Yeah.
And also, like, a lot of the steampunkers who are still involved in the community were involved before that boom, and I don't know if they did anything to keep people there or not.
Who knows? But yeah, because that's before our.
Yeah.
I would say before our time. That implies we weren't alive or anything. No, we were alive 10 years ago.
15 years, technically 16 years ago.
Oh God! But we were I wasn't in this country at that point, and we weren't involved in the community at that point.
No, we weren't even adults technically at that point.
Yeah.
So.
In 2010, I would have legally been an adult.
Barely.
Yeah, barely. I was old enough to vote in that general election. That was a bad general election. Anyway. So yeah. So Key City, again, the thing that we love about this one most is the people. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. But yeah, so we had undenied about it. We weren't 100% sure if we were going to attend. Like, I definitely wanted to, but we did know it was the week after Gen Con. We knew we were going to be kind of exhausted. But as you said, we got invited to be part of a panel, and we will talk about that when we get there in chronological order. But that was enough to make us go, okay, we've been thinking about this. There is an Airbnb we can get that's reasonably priced.
Yeah. Every single year with this one, I say I'm going to stay in the hotel the next year, and then I don't. Maybe we'll do it next year. It didn't help that we bought a house.
Yeah. Again, have we checked to see how affordable that hotel is?
I checked last year, because I said last year we should try the hotel next year, and then I forgot. So I'm sure I will check again this year and probably forget again for next year.
Yep.
So we'll continue that pattern.
Yeah.
But we're kind of desperately trying to save money at the moment, so.
Because again, we're still figuring out our finances on the new place. Like, for the record, we're going to be fine. It's just, is there anything we need to cut back on, basically?
Yeah.
Like, the con budget is kind of non-negotiable. Like, we are determined to keep doing this.
Mm-hmm.
It's just some parts of it we do need to cut back on. Like, one thing that I did not do this weekend was partake in the food truck food, because I am sure it was excellent. It's been excellent the last few years. It was the same food truck they've used the last couple of years. But at the same time, I'm trying not to pay $15 for lunch anymore for a little bit until we know exactly where all the finances end up falling out.
Yeah. And people have asked us, multiple times how we afford cons, including at this convention, which is really not a question I mind. And the honest answer is just we budget and don't spend money on other stuff. Like we pretty much don't. We eat out at one restaurant maybe once a month.
Yeah.
We don't get fast food or delivery pretty much ever. So yeah, and we're lucky enough to not have any debt. So, other than now a mortgage, I guess.
We have a mortgage now, but mortgages barely count as debt.
I mean, it's effectively just rent in a different form.
Yeah.
Except with more responsibility.
Yeah, you're going to end up paying a bunch of money for where you live, regardless of how you do it.
Yeah.
So, unless you're like our former landlords. But anyway, yeah. So this con is, I think they said it's 15-year-old at this point, somewhere in that ballpark. It's been going a while.
Yeah. I'll see if I can find any of the history on it. You want to talk for a second while I check if I can do that?
Sure. So, as we mentioned last year,
we should probably do the disclaimer.
Oh yeah, disclaimer. Yes, we do record this podcast in our car on the drive home. We are using hands-free lapel mics. We are in keeping with all the laws of the various states we're driving through. Yada yada yada.
And also, as a reminder, this is like literally a conversation we would be having anyway, so it's not really taking any more cognitive effort than that conversation otherwise would.
Yeah, you can talk and drive at the same time. And like, if anything occurs that means it's not safe for me to talk and drive at the same time, like a giant, ridiculous, terrifying storm, we'll just pause the podcast. We've done that before. We prefer not to, but we absolutely can. So the layout of the hotel itself is pretty standard to all intents and purposes. It's a U. Mm-hmm. It's basically a big U shape with several holes in the middle, and those holes can be reconfigured into a variety of shapes. So they do a largest vendors hall, a quote-unquote like main stage, and then 2 workshop rooms down the far corridor. And after a certain point of the day, they convert the 2 workshop rooms into and the main stage into one big room for their parties and that kind of stuff. So and there's also 2 panel rooms. So it's a fairly simple setup. I do maintain they've kind of outgrown this hotel to a certain extent, but I suspect there aren't a lot of better options that are anywhere in their price range, just because at this point they do have a bunch of vendors also like in the corridor, and when you've got steampunk costumes, some of which involve hoop skirts, some of which involve like elaborate backpacks and jetpacks and God knows what else.
Will you make me a jetpack?
Yeah. Like, that's actually not that hard for me to make you, relatively speaking.
Cool.
That doesn't involve sewing. Like, I have a reasonable number of crafting skills. Sewing is just not one of them.
Yeah, sewing's one of the ones that we haven't done yet. I do, modify a lot of my costumes. And, I figure out the aesthetics for them, which is in own self a skill, but I don't tend to sew very much. Yeah. So, anyway, continue.
So, yeah. So, I maintain they are pushing the limit of what this hotel can take.
But it is thematically very fun.
It is. And there's kind of no real way for them to expand in that regard.
And I have no idea if they did better or worse in terms of numbers this year than last year.
Not a clue.
It might vary a little bit. It was more rainy this weekend.
Yeah, but it felt more crowded at several points than previous years. But that was kind of during the times when there was a torrential downpour outside, so people were huddling in the corridors rather than going out into the light. Because there is a balcony feels like a very strong word, given that the drop down to the car park is 3 foot. But patio. Let's go with patio. That kind of runs along the back side of the building, which works great. And I did notice they put some tables out in the covered area where the food truck parks as well this year. Which I don't think they've done in previous years. Yeah,
which was a good call given the amount of rain, so people could still eat outside with a little bit more being undercover.
Yep. And yeah, it was muggy this weekend. And again, that's not on the call.
Yeah. Key City Steampunk began in 2016 in Frederick, Maryland, and then moved to Gettysburg based on their About Me page. So yeah, this is, I think, their 10th year, if the count is right. Well, it might not be technically, because I assume during 2020 it probably didn't happen, but close to their 10th year, or maybe they did a virtual event that year.
Who knows? Again, they've been going for about 10 years, which, again, that's a good run for a con these days. I'm very glad to know that, they seem to be doing fine in that regard, which I'm happy about. So. Okay, is there anything else we kind of want to talk about before we go chronological?
I'm good.
Okay. So I'm probably not going to bother with a ribbon code this week, just because I don't think we're going to any events upcoming where I'm even going to bother bringing the ribbons.
Just use our traditional code word "long time no con" for the next couple weeks.
Yep, long time no con.
So that's for our super secret special ribbon if you want to earn that at some point at a con.
Yeah, we have the regular ones that we just hand out to people, and we've got the super secret, ultra secret, super ribbon. Mm-hmm. That phrase was gibberish, but it's fine. So we actually did things in a slightly unusual order. So generally speaking, for most conventions, we'll actually go straight to the convention, do the day one, and then check into the Airbnb at like 10 p.m. This one, because we were allowed to check into the Airbnb anytime after 3, and the first panel we wanted to go to was at 4, we realized that we could probably effectively just drive straight to the Airbnb, drop off most of the stuff. In particular, we had food that we didn't want sitting in the car while we were at the con, and then go to the convention. So we did that first.
Which is also nice because I don't have to be in a hoop skirt the whole way home, which I definitely did at least 1 year at this con.
Yep.
Or there. So.
Yeah, so you were wearing a, short, practical dress. Yep. It's very pretty. It's got swans on it. Which is just, it's one of your go-to, easy-to-wear travel dresses. Mm-hmm. Again, it looks very nice. It looks very pretty, but it's also easy to wear. So we basically, got up, got the car packed, got on the road, did all those things, and stopped at the Airbnb, unloaded, got caught in a massive storm. That was fun.
Yeah.
But we beat the storm to the Airbnb by about 10 minutes.
Yeah, we were technically checking in earlier than we were supposed to because check-in was at 3.
Yeah,
but
it was about 2:45 when we arrived.
Yeah, and I figured we're getting in before the storm. They're not going to care all that much.
And again, we as I said, we beat that storm by about 10 minutes. So if we'd got there after official check-in time, we would have been unloading in a torrential downpour.
Yeah. This is more traditional Airbnb than our last various haunted ones, like just somebody's basement. Yep. It was fine.
It was fine.
They had rules about how you're supposed to rate them 5 stars unless it was completely unquestionably excellent.
Yep.
So even if they were just fine, there have to be serious problems to even get a 4-star review.
Yep.
For the record, we do not rate Airbnbs because I don't care.
The really terrible ones we probably should review, but we don't like the confrontation.
We don't like the confrontation. I would feel bad if we just reviewed the bad ones, and it's also just but I don't mind people renting out parts of their house, which was effectively what this was, for a little bit of additional income. But I resent the fact when they refer themselves as a small business as though that's somehow noble, or when they put stuff up telling you to rent them 5 stars. Because I'm going to be honest, I don't really care that much about your quote-unquote business. You just happen to be fortunate enough to own property, which isn't really a skill.
Yep. So, yeah. But again, it was aggressively fine. It was, about a 20-minute drive from the car? Yep. So we did that. We got you back in the car by, I sprinted out to the car, grabbed the umbrella, went back and got you. Drove to the con in the torrential downpour, with storm lightning lashing around. That was fun.
Yeah, I wore my Monet dress, which was a big hit.
Yep.
All my costumes were. But
that was just my standard steampunk look this weekend for obvious reasons. So we got to the con, and fortunately, this hotel has a sheltered drop-off point. Mm-hmm. So I was able to drop you off, then go park the car and get myself in.
Yeah, I had to fiddle with the hoop because the white hoop's been going for a while. In fairness, it might be one of the old white hoops because we forget to throw them out. Yep. Some people were asking me about this this weekend. Generally, my hoops, since I wear them every weekend, have about a 6 months to a year shelf life at most. But they only cost about $20, so I just kind of replace them when they're done. Because the spring still inelastic just tends to start going after that. Keep in mind, I do twist them into pretzel shapes and stuff like that to get into cars and venues, so they're pretty well worn a lot of the time.
Yeah. You get your money's worth out of them.
And I would make my own, because that's actually, like, that's basically a math equation more so than it is, like, costuming skills.
Yep.
But, like, this is the thing, is just whenever you try to make something, especially when you start, the supplies cost more than just buying it, and then you also have to learn how to make it, so that, like, the initial hump there is kind of hard to get over sometimes.
Yeah. Like, if I have a bunch of spring steel spare from other projects, great, go make yourself a hoop skirt.
Yeah, speaking of which, we should probably shout out the free table at some point.
We should, and we will. So so we dropped you off, we got inside, we got our badges, badge pickup, super easy. Go up, say name,
Yep.
Here you go. Because we did pre-book our badges. Well, pre-book might be a slightly strong word. I think we got them on, like, Wednesday, or was it Thursday?
I think it was when we were playing D&D, so it would have been Tuesday night.
Yeah, it would have been Tuesday night.
So yeah, they are technically, I think, slightly cheaper if you pre-book, and about $80 per person for the weekend, and then they do sell day badges, I think, for like $30 to $50. I looked briefly there.
Yeah.
So I got in line, I had to fix my hoop, and then people immediately said hi to us, which was amazingly nice.
Yep.
And I just got in line behind people, and it took like 2 seconds to get through. They don't use So they sent us a QR code. The people in front actually had their QR code. My QR code went to my spam folder for whatever reason, but I did find it. But they didn't have a QR reader. They just used people's last names, which is fine.
Yeah.
Like at a con this small, it's not really that big a deal.
Yeah, it's not that hard to look people up in the database and just go last name, first name, Caroline. Okay, yep, here you go. 2 badges, here you go. Yeah, this is not one where you need to like provide proof of ID or anything like that. So that was nice and simple and easy, and we meandered around and kind of sort of caught the back of opening ceremonies. We would have gone and sat down in the back of opening ceremonies, but they were standing room only in there by that point. So good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we technically could have left it down for opening ceremonies.
Well, we're saying hi to some people, which happened all weekend, so we kind of just did that. Briefly walked through the vendors hall. Great vendors hall again this year. They had Whimsy Coat, who I will shout out directly just because I own a Whimsy Coat and I want to own more every single time I see that booth. So.
Yep.
And just to remind people, if you didn't catch the episode from last year, Whimsy Coat makes these very stylized, all handmade coats. And if a coat does not fit you, they will fix it up so it does. They're at the con. They did that with me last year.
Yeah, like last year, you bought one effectively on the Friday. Was it the Friday? I don't remember. Yeah, I think it was the Friday. And she kind of looked at you and went, that fits pretty well. I can make it fit better. So she just did some measuring and said, okay, I'll do this tonight and get it to you tomorrow. But like, all she really needed to do was fit effectively additional buttons so it would cinch a little tighter on you. But the fact that she was, I would say, prepared to do that, but determined to do that feels like a more accurate statement.
Excited to do that.
Yeah. Like, it wasn't I guess I can do it if you want it. It was oh, no, I'm going to do this because it will make it look even better on you.
Yeah. Love Whimsy Coat so much.
Yep.
And if you're interested, the prices range from, I think, $250 to, I think, $350-ish, depending on what style of coat you want, which is, for handmade garments, very, very reasonable.
Oh, yeah. Like, you were contemplating getting another one this year.
Yeah.
And again, if we weren't, like, under a little bit of a budget restriction at the moment, you may well have.
Yeah, maybe for Christmas or something like that. There's a lot of their designs I like.
Yeah. And yeah, because they're all handmade, they're all kind of unique as well.
So we did that. We didn't see Steampunk Clockmaker this year.
No. There's a guy in Prastias who's made these like fantastic steampunk automata, which are display pieces. They are very, very expensive, but we have commented that at some point in the future, now that we own a house, we might want to get one. We would not have been able to justify the cost this year, and they are expensive, but they are well worth the price because they are gorgeous. Sadly, he wasn't here this year for whatever reason. No idea what the particular justification on that one was, but anyway. Hopefully he's back next year because we'd love to buy some of his stuff at some point, but we will see. You okay?
Yeah, I just didn't know if that was the end of your sentence.
Yeah, that was I was also getting distracted by having to switch lanes, but we're good.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see them again. Yeah, all the other, like, a lot of various other artists and artisanal stuff was there. And Steampunk, I would say, even more than most cons, and all cons are trying to be very strict about this, very anti-AI. Yep. So, very much all makers. And even the people who were doing 3D printed making stuff at least added, so they at least sanded down the products they were making.
Yeah.
And I think some of their designs were original.
Yes.
Yeah, there was a lot of cute different things. There was some cute handmade plush that I was also very tempted by. There were all these whimsical cats, but they were a little bit expensive. Not that they weren't worth that much, just that we're trying to, again, save money right now. Yep. Very good. I will say this is a very hard con to go to when you want to save money, because this is, of the cons we go to, I will say Key City is one that I do tend to actually budget a little bit to spend in the vendors hall, which I don't typically, just because they have so much fun artisanal stuff. And I definitely saw like 8 or 9 things here that I was tempted to buy, even though I didn't buy anything.
Yep. Like I got offered a giant awesome walking stick, and I was like, I might have been very, very tempted in another year, but again, like, the budget is the budget at the moment, and at the moment the budget is being careful.
Yeah, and we have been looking for a walking stick for you generally, because most aren't tall enough for you.
Yep.
So yeah, it's something to keep in mind if that walking stick happens to be available at a future Steampunk Con. Maybe.
So yeah. So so walked in, said hi to some people. Briefly looked around the vendor hall. Then kind of like perched at the back of the main event stage, just with the plan to go in for the next event.
Yeah.
And again, I think you got your photo taken like 4 times.
Yep. And I had a bunch of people complimenting me in the hallway. It was very, very sweet. So, yeah, they talked a little bit about various stuff. We only caught about half of it. The main thing that they did talk about was the con game, which is something that we've talked about for this con before, generally. They didn't have a very complicated, involved con game. I will say this year, I felt like they made a lot of good changes to it in making it easier for the average person to understand.
Yes. So, the con game this year, Key City really loves its lore.
Yeah.
Like, they write, like, a story of what's going on in Key City that's related to the theme of the con. So in this, this particular year, like, there's been some weird sciencey shenanigans, and there's mysterious, like, black ichor spreading throughout the city. And they need, like, help running a bunch of experiments in order to analyze the black ichor and figure it out. So basically what you can do is sign up to be a lab assistant. You got a little, like, lab assistant badge ribbon. And then they gave you a booklet. And the booklet basically just had a bunch of stuff you could do to effectively earn points. And if you got, like, 10 points, you could go back to them and get a, like, researcher badge ribbon or whatever it was. Like, they basically had tiers of additional ribbons you could get for completing high levels of the challenge, which is fun.
Yeah. I will admit, I tend to be more into this than you, and then I kind of get not into it just because you don't care. I'm like, fine, I'm not going to care either.
Sorry.
It's okay. You need to be gung-ho about the scavenger hunt stuff, honey. I love stuff like this. It's stupid and fun.
I know.
But you're always like, no, I don't want to do this.
Harsh, honey.
You're a little bit of a wet blanket.
Again, I am not a wet blanket. You're just frequently trying to do this stuff at times when I'm exhausted.
You're always exhausted.
I know. It's my cross to bear. Anyway, but the other thing that they did this year was they basically had, like, different sections of the booklet pitched effectively at different levels of how involved you want.
Yeah, so you could just go, there was just stuff about going to panels. You could just do that.
No, and it was just a case of if you go to a particular panel, there would be a person with an exclamation mark above their head you could go to, or an arrow above their head you could go to, and they would stamp the booklet and say you attended this panel. That
was the other thing, is they more clearly signify, because they made these cute little, like, headbands that had arrows and exclamation points on them, so you could clearly identify the people who were associated with the con game.
Yes,
which was useful. Way, way, way easier, because you didn't have to, like, run around or try to find them, which I think made it easier. Last year they tried to use an app that never really wound up working that well. Also, previous versions of this game also just had fail conditions for some reason, which didn't make any sort of sense. This year's didn't. It was very, very clearly laid out where you were supposed to go and how you were supposed to play. And they even had an option, because, like, I think if you collected enough research cards, you could guess which of the various hypotheses was actually the thing that destroyed Key City. But if you didn't want to do that and just hand in your points at the end, you didn't have to do that part.
Yep.
Which was also nice.
Yeah, we also completely forgot to hand in our booklet for points.
Yeah, well, it's fine.
It's fine.
Like, we did try a little bit of it. We mostly did the going to panels part, and we'll talk about the, like, one puzzle thing we did, generally, so.
But again, no, this was cute.
This was cute. I feel like it's, like, it keeps the level of complexity I think they like with the game, while making it playable by basically everyone at the con, regardless of what you want your level of involvement in it to actually be, which I liked a lot more, generally.
Yes.
And it felt more inclusive, because in previous years, it did really feel like it was more just for kids. And there are still definitely elements of this that are definitely more for kids, but it feels like adults can still kind of play.
Absolutely.
Like, some of the puzzles are very clearly made to be solved by children, but that's fine.
And some of them are a little more complicated.
Yeah.
Good balance of stuff. Like, whoever put the game together this year, you did a good job.
Yeah, we liked this a lot. It was very clear and very well laid out.
Yeah.
We also announced the con guests, various panels. Key City does keep their opening ceremonies at 30 minutes, I think, because they realize that realistically it's only going to take 30 minutes.
Yeah.
If anything, they under-budgeted time.
Yeah, I think they were straining against their time budget a little bit at the end there. But for the record, we got there after it started, so I don't actually know if it started on time.
And before we get into the next panel, a word on names. If a name is publicly on the schedule, we will say it, which is helpful in this community because there's a lot of public names. So
a lot of them are personas rather than their actual, real world names, which again, weirdly similar to furries in that regard.
And generally, if we do say, like, I don't really have anything negative to say about anyone at this con, but if I did, I would not mention their name because that's just mean.
Yeah. So, the first panel that we'd specifically planned to go to was Nerf Dueling.
Nerf Dueling, hosted by Tony, who was going to be on the Just a Minute panel with us later that day.
Yep.
Let me get their full name because they might want that. Tony Ballard Smoot, which I assume is not their actual last name.
Based on comments, no, I think that might be, and I believe the comment is this was a person who later got described as the only person they know who has a real name more pretentious than their steampunk
Sounds
name.
right, honestly, for them.
But yeah, so Nerf Dueling is always a blast. Nerf Dueling is exactly what it sounds like. You challenge another person to a duel.
Mm-hmm.
You stand back to back. You select your weapons. The weapons are all Nerf guns.
Yep.
You put on eye protection just in case, and you then walk an appropriate number of paces. And usually, depending on room size, in a room this big, 5 paces is fine. And then you turn and exchange fire.
Mm.
It's fun. It's silly.
Yeah.
You and I believe, I challenged you very early on.
Yep.
I shot you.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny.
Yeah, I also really like this one because the room was smaller, people got to go up multiple times. People challenged people they knew the first time. But as the duels kind of went on, I found like people typically tended to challenge people who are at about the same skill level with the Nerf guns that they were to make the fights kind of fair and more fun, which I thought was very fun. So.
Yeah, because we have seen this done before in a full-on bracketed tournament style.
Mm-hmm.
This was a little more loosey-goosey of just challenge who you want. As long as they accept, it's fine. And they did have the chap there with his with several steampunk Nerf weapons, including
the muskets are great.
The single shot pistol Nerf guns, where in order to load them, you have to push a rod down to click them into place, put a ball in, flip it around to press the ball into the breach, put the thing back and then point and fire. It's very silly and over the top, but it is fun. Especially if you both miss your first shot, and it becomes a game of, okay, who can reload the fastest to take their second shot.
Yeah, which is hilarious and makes you, it also honestly simulates what combat used to be like.
Again, I've told you, so one thing I used to do before you and I were together is I used to do HEMA. And there was an event I would go to every Easter in York called The Art That Adorns You. And one year, one of the workshops they did there was on saber and single-shot pistol. Mm. And to simulate single-shot black powder pistols, we were using Nerf guns with one shot in. And to simulate the fact that black powder was notoriously unreliable and you never actually knew if it was going to work properly until you pulled the trigger, the instructor only loaded about half the Nerf guns, and you weren't allowed to check whether yours was loaded until you fired it.
Yep.
So sometimes you'd point your weapon at somebody, pull the trigger, and absolutely nothing would happen. It's like, oh dear, I had some dodgy powder. In all honesty, if I pitched that, like, I don't have the requisite training in Saber to teach that class, but if I offered to teach it at a steampunk con, like, I think it would be a hit. But yeah, my training is a little earlier than that. I'm more, 14th, 15th, 16th century in my Heman training rather than 18th. But yeah. Sorry, I got us off on a tangent there, or I got me off on a tangent at the very least. So no, yeah, Nerf dueling is always a blast. I frequently got challenged as the Englishman because obvious. You had a fashion off against somebody else who was also fabulously dressed.
Well, like, because I was in a ball gun, they had these very elaborate sleeves, and they just puffed out their arms to make themselves even a bigger target, and that was very fun.
Yeah. Again, like, this is very wholesome. You're gonna get shot. It's gonna be funny. Have fun with it.
Yeah, it's always hilarious. It's always a good time, and I do kind of like the kind of lightness of this particular thing. Plus, I peer pressured somebody into the two people who were in the room to basically stamp people's who's, because they had to let the con game, as opposed to having just you go to any panels, they had specific panels that were like on the list of stampable panels. For whatever reason, I have no idea how they decided which ones were stampable, but
I think it was mostly things that were in that main stage.
Yeah. But they decided Nerf dueling was a stampable event, so we went there, and the two people who were, I think, just there to stamp stuff, I kind of peer pressured in a fun way to get them to go against each other.
Peer pressure.
Peer pressure worked.
Peer pressure. Peer pressure. Anyway,
they were both looking at each other like they wanted to do it. It wasn't like I was looking at people who clearly had no interest in it.
Yeah. Again, I suspect it's just a case of technically they were in their volunteer hours at that point.
But everyone who had wanted to go had gone by that point. So.
And again, the person running this is the quote-unquote mayor of Key City.
Yeah.
He's on staff. It's fine.
Yeah, it was very fun. It's also you get to play the secondary game of trying to find the Nerf bullets after the game's over, which I enjoy as a game.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw at least one of the balls roll away onto the stage, because the standard Nerf darts, generally speaking, once they hit the floor, will kind of stay there. The balls just roll. But they're the only thing that fires out of the musket pistols. It's great.
Also, it was really cute at the end. Tony clearly had accidentally forgot some of the easier Nerf pistols, so he just went by Walmart to get more. And he didn't want more, so he just handed them to one of the kids who was playing.
Yep.
And then had to have the use these responsibly talk with them.
Or alternatively, don't.
Yeah.
Use them irresponsibly. It's fun. Anyway.
Whenever I think about having kids and bringing them to cons, I will say steampunk cons are the ones that I kind of most want to bring them to.
Yeah. The vibes are just that good.
Yep.
So yeah, what was the next thing?
The next thing was we have a bit of a break, so we went around the vendors hall.
Yep. It's worth noting that the way the schedule was set up at this con, in between effectively every panel period, they had a 30-minute break, which is useful insofar as having 30 minutes between events is good for getting everybody from one event to another, all that stuff. It did mean that the corridors were noticeably busier anytime there wasn't a panel going on, but also at the same time, offsetting them probably wouldn't have worked great. I don't think so. It's a system that works. Again, there are pros and cons to it, and I don't
pros and cons
every time. And I don't think either option is wrong. It's just a choice, and I think it worked fine. But it did mean there was always kind of after you finished a panel, you didn't have to rush to the next one, so you could kind of meander from place to place.
Or just talk to people after the panel. That happened a lot. So the panel had to clean up. So
yeah,
I think it worked well for what it was.
Yeah.
So then we did the Clockwork Rave with Steampunk Xena performance.
Yes.
So we saw Xena in the hallway earlier. I love talking to them generally.
Yep.
I played Space Unicorn on the way down in their honor.
Yep.
Which was also the first song in the rave.
Yep.
Which did not match the tone of any of the other songs.
But it was funny.
It was funny. I didn't even know what it was originally supposed to be, or if because we were just talking into it to Xena before the panel, she just put it in.
I mean, she said it was in the playlist. I don't know if it would have been the first song if we hadn't mentioned it, but who knows?
Yeah. A lot of the steampunk Xena stuff, because she does a lot of work with fire, tends to take place outside. And because I'm pretty allergic to being outside, and giant ball gowns don't do well around smoke and outside.
Or fire.
Or fire. Not that Xena would get fire near a ball gown. It's more the smoke that I'm concerned about, not Xena setting my dress on fire. If I asked her to do that with consent, she probably would. But, like, before that, she would not do that.
Yeah. Yeah, so we've not been to a lot of her shows in the past.
Yeah, but this one was indoors. Yeah. And she loves Rainbow about as much as I love Rainbow. Yeah. Like, we might have to have a battle over who loves Rainbow more.
Oh, God. Yeah, we showed her pictures of our shelves. Got the appropriate level of yay out of her, which was adorable.
So, yeah, this was... she does a lot of work with a lot of various, I guess, I don't know what to call them, except twirly type of stuff.
Yep.
And there are a couple other steampunkers there. One of who was using hula hoops and a yo-yo.
Yep.
And one of had like kind of a long baton type thing. I'm not familiar enough with any of this artistry to know the terms.
Yep.
So I'm doing my best.
Spinny stuff.
Spinny stuff. All of which lit up and was LED type of stuff. And they gave all of the members of the audience little LED batons made of foam to like wave around.
And like brave with.
And they let members of the audience... I think a few rounds in, like, a kid wanted to go up on stage and do something. They let the kid do stuff, which was adorable.
Yep.
And then towards the end, they let members of the audience grab hoops.
Stuff. Yeah, so I got voluntold by you.
Yeah.
So I twirled a hoop for a bit.
Yep.
Not very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was just very fun. Like, we don't tend to do a lot of shows, but it's so kind of magical and fun, and, like, the LED stuff was so fun, and I liked it a lot.
Good.
What did you think of it? I'm asking you while you're yawning, because we cannot go through an entire episode without you yawning even once.
As I mentioned, I am just permanently exhausted. It's fine. No, I had fun at this. Again, I'm not quite as much of a Rainbow fanatic as you.
Rainbow.
But again, the vibes of this were very fun. You know, it was just very light, fluffy, and silly. Sometimes that's kind of fun. You know, and the guy selecting the music for this, I think, did a pretty decent job.
It was definitely a little bit more, like, I feel like Xena leans a little bit more, like, whimsical, and the music was a little bit more, like, rave. Technocore. And I don't know how much of the playlist was put together by her. She seemed surprised by some of the songs at some point.
I think a couple of them were put in there deliberately to screw with her.
Yep.
Like
in a fun way.
In a fun way. That's not a, there was a moment of, really? That? Okay, I can do that, I guess. For at least a couple of them. So.
Yeah, I also saw you lose your hoop and have to run to the side of the stage to pick it up.
Yep.
Also, you turned off your hoop, and it took, like...
Well, it took me a minute to find the button to turn it on, because again, like, the hoops, when they got dropped, did have a habit of switching off, and figuring out how to switch it back on again took me a second. I figured it out eventually.
Well, all of these are, like, I don't think anyone would mind me saying fairly cheap LED stuff, which you would want during this, because if you're going to break something by dropping it, you would prefer that it be cheap and not expensive, but that means that for most of them, their wiring is fairly loose, which means that even if you just move it in the wrong direction, it's going to turn off, so...
Yeah, no, this was a fun little event. Relatively light, relatively fluffy, fairly sort of jump-y.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was next?
Just a minute.
Yeah, so this is the panel we were invited to. Mm-hmm. Specifically, we were asked to be on the panel for this.
Yep.
So, Just a Minute, we've mentioned it before, is a British game show that's been going for about 60 years at this point. The basic premise is that you get a panel of 4 people together.
Yep.
The UK version, it's usually comedians.
Mm-hmm.
Or like light entertainment personalities, that kind of vibe.
Yep.
And they are then given a subject to speak on, and they have to talk for a minute straight on that subject without hesitating, deviating, or repeating anything they have said.
Yep. And, last year we did do a version of this in the podcast, so I do think we have to honor that tradition this year.
Oh, God damn it. Okay.
Let me get a timer up so we can actually do it.
Okay.
I'll let you pick the topic if you want.
Oh, God. I mean, we kind of have to do steampunk cons.
We did that last year, I'm like 90% sure.
Okay.
Why don't you just explain the Just a Minute panel?
Okay. Just a minute, in a minute. Let me know when you're
It's
ready.
meta.
Mm-hmm.
Go.
Just a Minute is a British game show that has been running for over 60 years. It gets together a group of panelists who are...
Pause, hesitation. You said
Well, okay, you're mean. Go on, your turn.
We have to demonstrate how the game is.
Mm-hmm.
To demonstrate how the game is played, one person can interrupt another when they hesitate, deviate, or otherwise break any of the rules of this particular game. But if they don't break any of these...
Pause. Practitioner break.
Damn it, go.
Just a Minute has many slightly more complicated rules, but they are all ultimately found within those three broad categories. The main thing you need to keep in mind is that if the words are in the topic, you are allowed to say them a second time. Therefore, I can say just a minute again without causing any rules violations.
Pause, you said rules multiple times.
Yeah, I thought I did.
Let's be honest, though, the real point of the game is comedy. You're supposed to make the audience laugh, or in our case, ruin our marriage multiple times, because that's what makes people giggle, or chuckle, or lose their ever expletive because we're at time.
Yeah.
And that's how the game is played.
That is how the game is played, yeah. Like, I freely admit my favorite challenge of the night was when one of the other players was asked for to speak on my favorite game, or your favorite game, I believe was the topic. And he started talking about Monopoly, and I just buzzed. It was like, deviation from taste. And generally speaking, if you're... So the way the points basically work is you get a point for speaking when the whistle blows.
Yep.
So when the minute is up. You get a point for going the full 60 seconds without being interrupted. Those are rare. You get a point if somebody interrupts you and is incorrect, and you get a point if you interrupt someone and you are correct, and you also take over the subject.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to talk it for however much the remaining time is. And there will also be bonus points thrown around, especially if your interruption is funny enough.
And there's also a lot of trying to get the buzzer if somebody has 5 seconds left for any amount of hesitation. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And you wound up winning. The points don't really matter. You wound up winning, I think, mostly because I was dogpiling on you, which meant the other two panelists also realized it was okay for them to do that.
Yep.
Because it is a little bit harder when you're playing with strangers to know what their limits are in terms of how much you can go after them. But the nice thing about us playing as a couple is we know where each other's limits are. So I just try to let our chemistry shine. I think it does generally.
Yeah. Yeah. People like us.
Yep.
For whatever reason. I get what they like you. I have no idea what they like me.
I get what they like you. I have no idea what they like me.
Welcome to Imposter Syndrome 101.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's 3 o'clock and I have to drink this, so I'm going to let you talk for a minute. So I apologize if this ends up a little bit on mic, but my digestive system's kind of messed up right now. So.
Hopefully that Walmart truck is okay. He's decided to stop on the highway. But anyway, so we got invited to this panel, or invited to be on this panel a little while back. So we knew we were going to come to this kind of result as a result of that, and this was hosted by Josh, with Monty and Tony as the other two guests, plus us. Monty has apparently played this game a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of like the returning champion, and I believe it was Tony's first time doing it.
Yes.
So this was a lot of fun.
Yep.
You took an early lead, then Monty and I kind of caught up, and then
Tony was there.
Tony was there.
He got one really good round.
Yeah, Tony definitely started picking up points towards the mid game once he got a bit more comfortable with it.
To be clear, this is making fun of Tony very lovingly. We understand how the game is played. I don't think Tony's ever seen it before, and it was just. They were great to have on the panel.
They were, and they got better as the game went on. Which again,
and it is hard to be on a comedy panel with a lot of rules. Trying to figure out your place in the panel is a very hard thing to do.
Yeah.
So
no, I feel like this panel went very, very well.
Yeah.
I think everybody enjoyed it. Josh, as usual, does an excellent job of hosting because
he's a radio host, and you can tell.
Yeah.
I love how much he loves audio.
Yeah. So he gives a little bit of an explanation, to the room beforehand about the history of the game and how it's played, and then plays the actual intro from the show, which is it's just the minute waltz. It's nothing ridiculously fancy or anything. But he also like cuts actual clips from Radio 4 to play those in advance, which is like. The thing about Radio 4 is one of the classic jokes of Radio 4 is, welcome to Radio 4. The program you actually want will be starting shortly, but in the meantime, here's a chance to accidentally catch 5 minutes of The Archers.
Mm-hmm.
That's a classic joke about Radio 4.
Yeah, I love the vibes and feel of it generally. They did put the chairs in the opposite direction of this room this year.
Yeah, no idea why, but we were not responsible for room setup. It worked fine.
Room temperature this year was also kind of
dodgy.
This room was too hot consistently the entire weekend, and main events in the dealer's hall were
freezing on Saturday. I feel like it was a lot better today, but on Saturday it was freezing in there. Yeah, fun times.
Yeah.
But no, so I adored doing this. One, it's always fun to be on a slightly silly panel with you. And two, again, just a minute, this something I grew up listening to, and it was nice to have the opportunity to bring it to other people. I'm almost tempted to try and run this at other cons, but at the same time, you do kind of need a panel who, to a certain degree, knows what they're doing. So it's much harder to do with just volunteers, and wrangling four people to turn up on time to a panel. This was the one comment I had about this as well. So we've been to many a furry con at this point, and I maintain one of the single biggest differences between the steampunks and the furries is you could not goddamn wrangle 4 people to turn up on time to be on a panel at a furry convention.
Yep. And if 2 of them were married, or one of them was married to the host, that person especially would just not show up on time.
Yep. Just no.
Yep.
The only way you can this is the thing. People usually turn up on time for MST3K. That's largely because it's literally the first panel of the con, and that's also because they've usually got alcohol.
Yep.
I kid because I love it. But yeah.
This was a blast. I hope the audience had as much fun as we were.
Yeah, I hope so too. Again, there were some moments that really did get a good laugh from the audience.
Yeah. My goal with this is never to win; it's to get laughs.
Yep. I think you get the joint second.
I think because you won, and then I think Montgomery was above me, and then I was third, then Tony was fourth. But it doesn't really matter.
Again, we were all within 5 points of each other. So yeah.
I was instructed by Josh that the points don't matter and to be comedic, so that's what I was going for.
Yep.
Which is always tricky to balance because you also want to make sure the game is still playable while you're doing that. But I think I did okay, even though I complained about a lot of my wife grievances with you.
Yeah, well, that's just how you roll.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, it's a lot of fun. It's very silly, and I'm very glad we got asked to do this. This was a blast.
And for the record, if you ever are seen us arguing on the stage, it's a bit. It's a bit. We're not bringing up any actual issues we have with each other ever.
Now, you constantly ragging on me for our disagreements about lasagna.
Yep.
That is a joke.
That's a joke. I'm still right, but it's a joke.
Not.
I've got an entire table of people to agree with me.
Yeah, and they're all wrong. Anyway.
Or if I talk about how it's annoying to buy the con tickets or stuff like that, it's not.
Yeah. We have a division of responsibility and labor that mostly works for us.
Yep.
As we point out, I do a lot of the... You do a lot of the pre-planning stuff. I do a lot of the practical getting us there stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the one who loads the car, for example. I'm fine with that. It is a division of responsibility that works. Because one of the problems you have if 2 different people are trying to load a car is you kind of need one person who sees everything that goes into the car to make sure that everything you're supposed to bring comes with you.
Yeah, it's hard to communicate. We have that problem a little bit with moving because that was so much stuff where we both had to do it, which means half the stuff one of us doesn't know where it is.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't even remember which half of which stuff we know.
Yep.
So
you keep saying you will read Dungeon Crawler Carl, and I absolutely believe you will. It's just at the moment I don't know which box it's in.
I don't know which one of us packed that book. I think it was on the coffee table.
It was on the coffee table, so you packed it.
I thought you packed the coffee table.
You packed the coffee table.
You definitely packed the coffee table.
No, I packed some stuff from the coffee table at the end. You packed an initial run of stuff from the coffee table earlier.
Well, which one had the Carl book in it?
The first lot. You see what I mean? Welcome to moving, kids.
Yep.
And I guarantee you, everybody here who has moved house has had a variation of this conversation.
It's true.
So yeah. But no, this panel was a blast. I'm very glad we did it.
Yeah, I would happily do it again anytime, but I also understand the need to cycle out celebrities or pick people who are more famous than us.
Yep. Yeah, we're not famous at all. This podcast gets like 20 listens.
Literally everyone at this con knew who we were.
Not everybody, reasonable percentage, but not
the
everybody.
people who run it.
Yeah.
Like more so than probably any other con.
Yeah, fuck cons were getting fairly well known. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, how cool would a 20,000 person steampunk convention be?
Oh god, don't make me. Like, I would adore that, but it would also be so many people in so many giant, ridiculous, awesome costumes.
That just makes it better. You said that like it was a bad thing.
No, I'm picturing what the corridors would look like. It's fine. Anyway. So, what was after that? Did we take a break after that?
We took a break, and we debated whether we were going to try for a later night, Friday night or Saturday night, because we generally try to pick one. We picked Saturday night, even though I really did want to stay for the unlockable content Cards Against Humanity game, because we have played that with them before, and it actually is fun, and that says something that, like...
Yeah, you're generally not a fan of Cards Against Humanity.
Well, it's just like, all it is reading cards that are funny. Once you've read all of them, it's basically just... It's not a game, really. There's not really any choice you're making at that point. It's not that fun. But it says something about both this and Werewolf that I am interested in playing with them when they're with a host that I like a lot. Like, I was 100% confident that I would have fun at this game, even though we wound up not going to it, because I know that unlockable content is a very good game host. They would make this fun.
Yeah. They're also a YouTube channel.
Yes.
Go
watch them.
Stuff. Yeah, because unlockable content is the same group that did the Blindfold Mario Party at Techo.
Yeah, highly recommend them. They're very cool. So, hopefully they had fun with this event.
Yeah.
What we wound up talking with Montgomery and their partner, because I didn't really know this before we talked to them, but I think they were us just like 20 years prior.
Yep. Yeah, they've been through, again, like Monty is from noticeably south of where I grew up, but like...
So he's superior to you?
Oh, no. But based on what he said, he's from the Black Country. Like, I will explain that to you later, but it's complicated.
I'm so confused.
Yeah. Welcome to the extremely complicated geopolitics of the United Kingdom. It's fun. Anyway. But yeah, so he is somebody who went through the whole immigration thing like quite a while ago. And it was just kind of like nice. It's always nice to bump into people who are in a similar situation to us, even if they're at like a different stage of it, and just kind of talk through how annoying parts of it are. And just like chat and catch up, talk food. Somebody who in this country who agrees with me the black pudding is excellent. You can't get a proper full English in this country. It's annoying.
It's also just kind of fun to talk about the immigration process with somebody who's gone through it, even if it is at a very different time period.
Yep.
Because the rules are so ridiculous, and the thing is, regardless of who's in charge, they've always been ridiculous. So,
like they vary wildly.
They vary wildly, but they're all ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's a lot of just going into a building and verifying you're the same person.
Yeah.
You still you.
Pretty sure.
You didn't replace yourself with a clone of yourself?
I don't think so.
How do I know you're the real Richard?
I mean, I could kiss you, but that would be tricky when we're driving. So.
That's fair. How would that prove you're the real Richard?
You'd be able to tell.
Would I?
Yeah.
I don't honestly know if I like blindly kiss somebody if I would notice or not. Somebody who's done that, let me know if that actually works or not.
Yep. Now there's a con game.
Oh God.
Oh, but it's an instant lawsuit, but...
Not if you do it at a BDSM con.
Yeah, this is true. Anyway. So, so that was kind of the point at which we ended up ending the evening. You sure we didn't do anything else?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, fair enough.
Because it's like Key City Steampunk, or just a minute, went till 8 p.m. Then we talked to them for about an hour.
For about an hour, and then, we headed out at that point, That's fair.
Like, I tried to warn you, we didn't really do as much as this con as we tended to do at other cons.
It still feels like we did a lot.
We still did a lot. We'll still have our top 3 favorite con moments and stuff like that. But I think it's just because we were commenting on this. We've done a lot of like 4 to 5 day conventions over the course of the summer. Having a 3-day one is just weird.
Yeah.
I will say Key City Steampunk doesn't necessarily have to be a 3-day convention. I know Steampunk Xena was doing like a weird tasting thing on Thursday night for the people who got it early. So, and you can definitely stay through Monday. It's just... We tend to be kind of Friday through Sunday people.
Yep, again, we've got pets to get back to. We were away for quite a while last week, and just, again, I have work. Yay.
I will have work again soon. Yay.
Yeah, you actually like your job.
Also, there was one tree over there that's already changing leaves.
Wow.
Goth tree.
Anyway, so again, it was a fun first day. So back to the Airbnb, sleep, get up the next morning, and what were you wearing yesterday?
I wore my monarch dress.
Ah, yes. So this is the monarch butterfly themed number.
Yeah, for both Saturday and Sunday, I picked very complicated makeup looks.
Yeah.
The monarch one I've at least done before. The Sunday one I have not.
Yes. Well, you sort of haven't. We'll talk about that when we get there. So monarch butterfly dress, it's always a winner.
Mm-hmm.
Like, basically, for the second we walked in, people were like, oh my god, look at that dress.
Yep.
Which usually happens to you. So what was the first panel of the day?
Tea dueling.
Ah, yes, tea dueling with the Baroness. So tea dueling, as we've mentioned before, is a lot of fun. The basic principle of tea dueling is you take in your hand a biscuit, you dunk that biscuit in some tea while facing off against an opponent who is doing likewise. You then lift the biscuit out of the tea and hold it up straight, and whichever one of you eats your biscuit last wins. The difficult part being, of course, there is currently hot, boiling liquid working its way through your biscuit and causing its structural integrity to fail, so you have to eat it before it falls apart. And it's about finding that balance point of when do you eat it. I adore tea dueling, because tea dueling is always an absolute hoot of, this is very silly. Everybody involved knows it's very silly, but we're going to take it very seriously.
Yeah. It's unfortunately, some cons I know have a version of this you can do where you hold up a cup to your mouth if you're somebody who literally can't eat anything. Most just kind of don't. They sometimes have gluten-free cookies for people who are gluten-free and stuff like that. But this particular time I was just I was having very bad stomach digestive issues on both Friday and Saturday, so I was just I'm not even going to try. Me trying this is just going to lead to bad things happening. So.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's okay. I don't really mind not being able to participate in this one particular thing. And it's still fun to watch, so.
And I volunteered early just because, again, I always have fun doing tea dueling.
Yeah, so this is, as opposed to brackets, it's just kind of, the person who wins stays up and the last person standing wins, there's a kind of silly prize at the end, generally.
Yep.
In this case, I think, a weird tea dueling role-playing game?
Yeah, it was some kind of tea-based LARP.
Cool.
Game, which sounded weird and fun.
So I suppose if you wanted to, game the system, the goal would be to volunteer later when there's less people to get through, but, I don't think anyone cares. So
the prize does not really matter in this context. It's about just having fun. Maybe doing some tea dueling trash talk.
Yep. And trying to find the balance with the tea is actually kind of hard. I know that the Baroness tends to use Biscoff cookies because they actually tend to...
They fall apart very quickly.
Yeah.
Most cons that do this use chessmans, which do hold together a bit longer. And if you don't get hot enough water on them, they will actually just hold together forever.
Yep.
There is a balance point to strike. But the Baroness was using chessmans this year because I don't think she knew she was running this panel until the night before, based on what she said.
Yeah, well, I do remember her saying this last year that she was planning to retire from tea dueling last year. So I don't think she was planning to run it. I think she was mostly just told to.
Yeah, I think it got put on the schedule because people just assumed she was doing it. And she forgot to tell them that she wasn't, or somebody forgot that she told them that.
Yeah.
If you want somebody to run it next year, guys, ping me a DM or an email. I will absolutely run this for you.
Yeah, you'll have an authentic English tea dueling expert, and I will be his lovely assistant.
Yes. If you give me advance warning, I'll turn up with an actual kettle.
Yeah. Yeah, if you give us, I think this is honestly an event we would happily take over at cons. I adore this event. I feel like I've seen it enough times to run it now very, very well. with scores and like keeping people and having you be like, you would need a cool name. I don't think I'm going to just call you Richard anymore. But other than that,
I would have to be like the tea master or something like that. But again, like here's the problem.
English with the English tea master. How about that?
Yeah, that would work. But no, the only problem is I am very cognizant of the fact that there is a teapot maker who shares my name.
Oh yeah, that is true.
So if I knew in advance that you wanted me to do this, I would go out of my way to try and acquire one of those ridiculous teapots that guy makes, and I would give it as a prize.
And by his name, we mean his full name.
I mean my full name.
His first and last name.
You
can say your full name.
Yeah, I found out about this back when I was in school, because we just got access to Google, or we just got access to the internet at school. So one of my friends was Googling everybody's names, and yeah, it turns out there is a Richard Parrington, which is my actual name, who is a famous teapot designer, and all of his teapots are weird as heck.
Yep.
So if you give me like a year's heads up, I will find one and I will give it away as a prize next year.
So yeah, this was fantastic though. Always is. It's always fun to see. I know last year, I think just as their last hurrah, the Baroness did 3 different tea duels.
Mm-hmm.
This year's they just did 1, and it was also fairly early in the morning. It was still packed though, because everyone loves it. So
everyone loves tea dueling. It's fun. It's fun. It's quirky. It's silly. Everybody knows the vibes are going to be fun.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll probably all honestly send them an email and be like, if you want us to take this over, we'd be happy to do that.
We would. Yeah.
Just to be clear, we're not trying to overstep. It just seems like no one else wants to run this event, and we will happily.
Yeah, basically, if there's somebody in the community who wants to do it, you'd rather give it to them. We're not going to be offended by that. If you don't have anybody else who's willing to do it, let us know.
Oh yeah.
We'll do it.
In a heartbeat.
Yep. So yeah. So that was tea dueling. Yep. Tea dueling's always fun.
One thing we probably should talk about in terms of stuff we did the previous days, we did check out the free stuff table. So we should probably explain the free stuff table.
So the free stuff is take stuff, leave stuff.
Yeah.
It's basically a table where you can put stuff you want to get rid of and take anything that's there.
Yeah. And they're pretty loosey-goosey about the rules. Like they're fine with people just taking some of the stuff because there's so much stuff, and they're fine with people just leaving stuff. So. Yeah. Last year it got weirdly competitive for whatever weird reason. This year was a lot more chill.
Yep.
We wound up grabbing a few things. The thing we grabbed that day, speaking of which, and that's why I thought it'd be good to pivot, was
a teapot.
A teapot.
It had this. It's a goose-based teapot.
Yep.
The beak of the goose is where the spout is.
Yeah, and it's dressed in a frilly outfit.
It just ticks a lot of our boxes.
Yep.
So
I just loved it.
This is weird.
Yep.
It is free.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to a home that will adore it.
Yep. So we were just we should take that.
Yeah.
And in future years, I do think we should leave stuff. It's just most of our stuff is currently in boxes. So hopefully no one's too offended by that. But had it been something I thought anyone else would have wanted as much as us, I would have left it there.
Yeah.
But also somebody was making fun of us as we picked it up.
Yeah, that would. I'm making fun of him just
in a nice way.
Yeah, it was you found a thing you liked. It was yeah.
Well, this is the thing is whenever I like something, I look utterly delighted, and you look exactly the same as you always do. So, I'm all excited about this new teapot, and you're just standing there holding the teapot, looking blankly there, and I think the person thought that you also didn't like the teapot, and were just forcibly getting it to me. So
again, it's weird, it's quirky, it's very fun.
Yeah. So they're just wow, you look really thrilled about this new acquisition for your household.
Again, as we pointed out, I'm British. I had the enthusiasm beaten out of me as a child. That's a joke for the record.
With a stick. So yeah, we did this. Later we found, you just want to talk about that now or later?
Oh, we can talk about it now.
And next day we found that people left a couple RPG books.
Yeah.
And our rule with any free RPG book is that if we take that RPG book, we have to run that game.
Yeah.
Which I've done with a book that was gifted to me, Passion of Passions, now multiple times.
Yep.
Because you took a couple RPG books, you have to run those games. Because otherwise that is not fair.
Yep. So at some point in the future, coming to a con possibly near you, will be a Buffy the Vampire Slayer game and a Firefly game. Because those are, they were the official RPGs of them.
Yeah.
Which means I don't have to make character sheets. Because they have the character sheets for all the obvious main characters in there.
Yeah. And those are both games where you should obviously just play as the main characters.
Yeah. There are character creator rules, but realistically you're going to be playing as them. the main characters from the shows. I will need to figure out how to transcribe them because they are like just printed in the books. I'll need to figure out if I can scan them or whatever, but I'll figure it out. So yeah. So what was next?
Next we did Con Daddy boasting.
Ah, yes. Okay, we probably need to explain who the Con Daddy is.
Mm-hmm.
So the Con Daddy is the chairman. I believe he's the chairman of this con.
Yep, I think he's the chairman and founder.
Yep. And he acquired the nickname Con Daddy somewhere along the way because he's just one of those people who tries very, very hard to take care of everybody at their event. In a like, did you remember to drink water today? Okay, good. Now you can go drink the alcohol, kind of way. It's just very sweet and very wholesome. So the basic premise of this panel was there was 4 panelists plus him. They said nice things about him, and then they encouraged the audience to also say nice things about him, while his face grows steadily redder.
Yep.
This was adorable.
It was awesome.
I really want. There are several other events I want to steal this concept and apply it to.
Mm-hmm. Like, this is the thing, is like, I do feel like roast can be done well, but I feel like now, like, the making fun of a person's style of humor is overdone. I say that as somebody who does it very constantly to you.
Yeah, but you're doing it to me.
Yeah. But even so, like, it is fun. Like, this is the thing, is like, for most people, particularly people who work in comedy, like, insults aren't going to get them, in part because you're not actually trying to insult them. You're trying to make humorous remarks about them. So they're fine with that because the insult is to make the crowd laugh, and it's not really actually insulting them on anything they're insecure about.
Yep.
And if you are insulting them on things they're insecure about, that's not roasting them, that's just bullying.
That's just being a dick.
Yeah. So boasting, I think, is a lot more fun, and I would like to see it in a lot of other contexts.
Yep. Yeah,
also, this person's parents and spouse were there.
Yeah. Yeah, that the spouse was deliberately just like, yeah, I'm going to go last.
Mm-hmm.
They did also give out awards at this,
Yeah.
which was, a first place and a runner-up for, like, best boasting, which actually went to Asgard for best, because they just had this incredibly wholesome story.
Yeah.
It was like,
they dedicated their book to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but I did also like that second place went to a person who had never even met them just because they had a good joke. So.
Yep.
And we both got up and basically told, like, we've definitely spoken with this person before, but I don't really remember them directly much.
Yeah.
Although I'm sure they're very nice because everyone in the steampunk community is nice.
Yes, we've talked to them previously. We haven't had the opportunity to do those like personal moments that some of the other people on the panel have had. That's not a criticism or a complaint. That's just there are a lot of people at events. We go to a lot of events. We meet a lot of people, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah. So you complimented their kilt.
Yep. Their kilt was good enough that wearing it in Scotland would only get them beaten up by the Scottish instead of murdered. That's a high praise.
And I've also told that story about the time that we met Asgard and Lady Willsworth at Burren City and didn't realize we had met before.
Until somebody showed us a picture of us together. We're like, oh, okay.
Which they also remembered.
Yeah, that was great.
It was hilarious. And then I circled it back to how everyone in the steampunk community is awesome. But yeah, this was great. It was very, very fun. It was just wholesome and awesome. And yeah, I want to have this at more cons.
It says something that there's been like 4 panels at this convention that I just want to pitch the idea for and do somewhere else as well. Yeah. Because again, like, Key City does do a lot of unique events that aren't really anywhere else. And I'm like, I don't want to wait a year to do that again. So yeah. This was great. There are already other communities I'm planning to sucker into doing this one. So, yeah.
So then we had a bit of a break. This was also the time period where there was a bit of a medical emergency that happened, which
yes.
I'm not going to say anything specific about out of respect for that person's privacy. I don't even know who
no idea who it was.
I just want to talk about how the con handled it.
Yes. So basically, we kind of went down the corridor and found that they were trying to clear out the corridor to keep it clear, and we were assuming, they're probably going to be like driving one of the weird steampunk vehicles down it or something. And
which, to be clear, they cleared the corridor for that several times over the course of the weekend.
And again, like, it wasn't a it wasn't an impolite clearing. It was just a, can we please have this area cleared so that somebody can get through it. We're like, okay, yeah, sure. They handle that very well. But you were the one who noticed there was flashing ambulance lights outside.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, oh, okay, this might be a thing. And a couple of paramedics basically came through with a stretcher.
Mm-hmm.
They were heading in the direction of one of the panel rooms. That is the extent to which we saw.
Yep.
Obviously, we're not going to. We don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
My guess is just somebody was taken ill.
Hopefully everyone was okay. It's their business, not ours. Yeah. I hope they were fine. I thought the con handled it very, very well. Everyone was very, very sensitive about it. So,
again, basically, there was one moment where someone was like, "Oh, what's going on out here? Oh, it's a stretcher. Okay, I'm gonna." And then they immediately got back and got the heck out of the way because, if there is a stretcher coming through, you get out of its way. Like it's the same way. If there's an ambulance coming up behind you, you get out of its way as best you can. And I feel like everybody at the con was just incredibly respectful about that. No notes, no criticism. Like, you handled that about as well as you possibly could have done. Good job. Yeah. And we just hope everybody.
Yeah.
We hope the person who required that was okay. We don't know who it was. I didn't hear any comments after that. So.
No, well, I think a lot of people were also being respectful of privacy and stuff like that. And medical emergencies can be pretty much anything. A lot of them, thankfully, are not serious. And it is just sometimes unfortunate that it has to happen at cons generally. But it's not the con's fault. It's also not that person's fault.
Yep. And again, sometimes it's just better to err on the side of caution. You doing all right?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay, we still got a 2 hour, 46 minute
I don't think we're going to be on this podcast for that
long. But that's fine. Yeah. So what was the next panel?
With a bit of a break, then we had Fashion Game with Maggie Weber.
Ah, yes.
Who's an influencer.
Yes.
And I don't use the term influencer derogatory. That's what they do.
Yep.
They were, I think, one of the guests for the con which I actually really love that they got this person as a guest. I didn't realize when we, because there was actually quite a bit of a crowd outside of the room, which I found a bit surprising. Mm-hmm. Mostly all femme-coded people generally.
Yep.
Just because I hadn't heard of them before, but when they brought up their stuff, I definitely have seen some of their videos just in passing.
Yeah. I have not, but this person is a person who talks about fashion. It probably will not surprise you to know that that's not what the YouTube algorithm tends to throw in my direction.
It throws at me pretty quick, generally. So I've definitely seen some of their stuff just in passing, even though I didn't know who they were. Which I told them later that I meant it as a compliment, and they took it as a compliment, because that generally means that the algorithm is doing their work. So we went in. The room was still freezing, by the way.
Yeah. I have no idea why that room was so cold on Saturday. I think they've got it mostly better balanced.
Yeah, they did have it better balanced on Sunday.
I think, who knows? Mm. But yeah, so again, this panel was fun. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so this is basically, this is the thing that I always like about fashion influencers generally, is there's a lot to critique about modern fashion. You have the major houses aren't producing anything that's unique or creative or even their own work, and they're not paying people well. And that's a very big critique of the fashion industry. But people tend to take that critique of the fashion industry to mean that fashion in and of itself is bad, which it's not. It's one of the most base forms of creative expression that we have.
Yep.
And I also resent people who say that who say stuff like, oh, I don't follow trends. And I'm like, well, you're not wearing something from 17th century France, so you do.
Yeah.
Everyone follows trends.
Yeah. Sometimes that's because you don't have a choice.
You still follow trends.
Yeah.
But this person did it in the way that I like, where they're critical of fashion, they're critical of a lot of what's going on, but they don't critique people who love fashion, and they are supporting smaller and more sustainable designers generally a lot of the time. And I love that kind of influence on clothes generally. And I will admit my own fashion consumption is not completely ethical. It's hard for anyone who consumes fashion right now to have completely ethical consumptions. I try to go with smaller designers and I try to thrift a lot of the time, but it's still not perfect.
Yeah.
But stuff like this can't help, where it's somebody who loves fashion but makes fun of giant fashion corporations. They also had amazing stage presence. So
they really did. Especially given that they commented that this was only their second ever time doing a panel.
Yep.
And I think might also have been their second ever convention.
Yeah. They were very, very cool.
Yeah.
And I also really like that they got a guest of honor that was fashion focused and really for you don't really, like, even at anime cons, which tend to be a little bit more, like, female focused, you don't really see a lot of stuff at cons that's just for women. And,
that's
like,
very true.
Seeing more stuff that's for women at steampunk cons. And I want to be clear, steampunk cons do tend to have more stuff that's for women in terms of, like, Victorian fashions and things like that. It's just awesome. And having a guest that targets women is also awesome. So I love this and everything about it. And they had a great time working the crowd. My only criticism was the room was freezing.
Oh, that's not all bad.
Yeah. So after they did their own, like, promotion and stuff like that, and a bit of crowd work to get them warmed up, we went into the game, which was mostly critiquing fashion houses.
Yep.
By guessing how expensive ridiculous items were.
Yeah, so it was like, okay, here's an item. How expensive do you think it is? Like the Tiffany sterling silver greenhouse, which is
the size of, like, a small model that you could put on a shelf.
Yeah, it costs more than a mortgage.
Yep.
Yeah,
that is more than we borrowed from the bank to buy our actual house.
Yeah.
So yeah, multiple people made the same comment in the audience.
Yep. You know, and I think it was something like 20 inches by 30 inches or something like that. Like it's not exactly a full-size greenhouse.
And they also talked about the fact that, especially with insanely expensive items, their effect on, like, is effectively money laundering for rich people, where they can put their money into these major investment pieces a lot of the time, as opposed to actually, you know, giving it to something that needs it or paying taxes.
Yep.
Plus, the thing you have to keep in mind with investment pieces, also quote-unquote investment pieces, you also have to buy insurance on that to, like, make it worth it.
Yep.
So you just have to keep paying people money to own it.
Yep. Rich people.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Like, you know, it got to the point where we were all shouting stupid numbers.
Yep.
And then frequently the stupid numbers were still under what was actually being charged for the thing.
Yeah. And then we had to guess if it was, like, expensive or cheap.
Yep. So this was basically, she had acquired some images of a bunch of plain white and plain black T-shirts. And you had to then say whether you thought it was, you know, a cheap shirt or an expensive shirt. And, you know, apparently she's done this on her channel before, and frequently the joke is they're all stupidly expensive.
Yep.
This time she did vary it up. You know, some were cheap, some were expensive, but yeah, getting told, you know, oh yeah, here's a plain white T-shirt that costs $1,200.
Well, if you want a tip, if there's a model wearing it, then it's cheap. Because, like, for the expensive ones, they don't even bother to get models to wear them because they don't have to.
This is true. But yeah, like, who is spending $1,200 on a T-shirt? Oh yeah, rich people.
Yep.
I was like, yeah, this thing's 100% cotton. So's the shirt I bought for $10 5 years ago that's still good. Like, ugh. Anywho. Yeah, I feel like there was a third round as well.
I'm trying to remember what the third round was. I will say the game kind of devolved into people telling stories after that about, like, various fashion brands they know and asking them questions. So, which was also very fun.
Oh yeah. But yeah. So no, this panel was a lot of fun. Like, I had a great time with it. It was very silly. You know, it made some important points. You know, while never feeling like mean in that regard.
Yeah. And celebrates, like, a lot of the great makers and artists we have in the steampunk community. So yeah, I love this.
And I'll say that she was very complimentary about, like, basically everybody's fashion throughout the entire weekend. You know, including yours, including, like, a bunch of other people.
Sometimes I feel a little bit guilty at steampunk cons that I tend to buy more than make my stuff. But I do, like, I use thrifted brands and stuff like that. And I do stylize it. Like, the aesthetic and stuff I still create.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like I just take a dress and put it on.
Yeah. And again, somebody at this con did ask you where you got the fabric for the Monarch dress. And you were like, yeah, this is what he bought. And so, and they're like, oh, okay, that's fair enough.
Well, I think they were jealous just because I know they were asking about the fabric, and they were like, of course it's a silky. This is the thing, is, like, part of the problem with the industry right now is that even though China has a lot of labor problems, it's also where all the fabric is produced. So some fabrics you can't even get in America, and that's one that they produced in China just because that was the only place they could produce it. So And there is kind of a big American fabric problem in the moment where there's just not a lot of good fabrics in America that the average person can work with, and it sucks.
Yep. Especially since, like
certain
like
stores
Joann's.
closed. Yep.
I know the cosplay community was shedding tears when Joann's closed.
Well, it's also with fabric in particular, you really do want to go into a store and be able to feel how thick it is and what quality it is.
Yeah.
And you can't do that with online stores.
No, you can't.
Although, if you want some tips about where to get fabrics, I'd recommend asking Madame Askew. I don't even know how she finds some of that stuff.
Goodness knows. Yeah. It's pity we haven't seen her for quite a while.
I think she does. She's more on the West Coast, and I do get that travel's probably hard for her.
Yeah. It's a shame, because again, Madame Askew and the Grand Arbiter are awesome people. We haven't seen them at an event for a while.
Yep.
So yeah, that panel was a blast. Even as somebody who is not a fashion-minded person at all, if I could just wear the same clothes every day, I would. I'm glad I don't have to think about this.
Okay, Steve Jobs.
Uh-huh. Well, again, I have a selection of shirts. Do you want to know how I decide what shirt is getting worn next?
Do you just go through them on rotation?
Yes, there is a pile. Once I have worn the shirt, it goes into the washing basket. Once they are washed, they get folded and put away in the drawer. And whichever one comes out the drawer next is the one I wear next.
That's nice, dear.
I love you.
Love you too.
So yeah. What was after that?
So after that, in the same room was the costume contest, which is definitely worth going to at Key City Steampunk. It's hosted by Tony, which makes it awesome.
Yeah.
They also, again, the costumes here are just amazing. But you're also, the event's small enough that you're going to see most of them in the hallway anyway.
Mm-hmm. You will see some good stuff.
Yeah. But I think the more real reason we pivoted over was just I could not be in this room longer. It was freezing.
It was very cold. Plus, we had effectively agreed to go to this panel next.
Yeah, Montgomery asked us to, so.
Yep. And we had been looking at the schedule and we're like, that's probably what we were going to do in that time slot. So when Monty was just like, hey, I'll be running this panel tomorrow if you're looking for something to do in that time, and we're like, yeah, I think that was definitely on our strong maybe list. And I think that punted it over into we should go watch this panel. So, do you want to say the title?
Why? Because it's impossible to remember.
Yes.
Bullshots Baffle Brains, Episode 6.
Yep. So this is a panel this is the one that really highlights in my brain the fact that you can actually get steampunks to turn up to things.
Yep.
This had a panel of 11 people because it was Monty as the host and then 2 teams of 5. Do you know how difficult it is to wrangle 11 people to turn up to anything? Jesus Christ. I was impressed. So yeah. The basic premise of this panel was, this is another one that's based on an old game show, and the basic principle is you are given a slightly weird word. One team will take it in turns to say what the word means. 4 of them are lying, and 1 of them is telling the truth, and the other team has to figure out who is the one who is actually presenting the correct definition of the word. And Monty went digging around for a bunch of old Victorian slang terms for this one, which means you got phrases like coxy loxy and what was it? Up the ramp or something along those lines.
Yeah. Yeah, I do love the one person on one team I don't think got the context, so they kept recommending interpretations that came from the 1950s and stuff like that. But it was kind of adorable. Yep. So, and everyone had great stage presence.
Yeah, the mad scientist I thought was a particularly good, good vibe. And yeah, this was a blast. I had fun with this. My only real criticism is I think the room was having that many people on a panel in a room that size. You were squeezed in quite badly, guys. There was definitely a little bit of noise bleed, but not too bad.
Well, because that room weirdly was hot when the other rooms were cold, there was always this question of whether or not you closed the door to get more sound in or not.
Yeah, because if you closed the door, it was easier to hear, But if you open the door, you weren't baking quite as badly. So, swings and roundabouts.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, they did have like not as good of an audience for this as I think they had hoped. It wasn't really anyone's fault. It was just opposite the cosplay competition.
Yeah, and again, like to be fair, they did not have a bad audience.
No. It was still funny, and I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Again, it's just I do feel like the 2 panel rooms at Key City are starting to strain against the number of people who go to Key City.
Yeah.
So frequently the panel rooms got very, very full.
Mm-hmm.
Not a criticism or a complaint.
It's also hard just because Key City is a con where people actually like going to panels, which is not the case at other cons.
Yeah. Some cons it is, some cons it isn't. As we've said, we very much are panel people. Like, we like going to lots of panels and seeing stuff, talking to stuff, doing all that kind of stuff. Whereas some people just want to go to the vendor's hall and shop for 3 hours. And hey, if that's your vibe, that's your vibe. Ugh.
What?
I'm getting flashbacks to that one person's YouTube video.
Which one?
The person who complained that they went into the vendor's hall and there weren't that many vendors, so it only took them an hour, and then they had to turn to the programming and set it in a way that implies that the programming is the thing that you shouldn't ever have to lower yourself to going to at a con.
Yeah, we've already given that person too much attention. Let's just move on.
I did hear their name get mentioned at this con.
Oh, did you? Tell me that off mic later.
I will tell you that off mic later. But yes. So, again, I do feel like the con is starting to strain a little bit, just in terms of the size of the panel rooms. But, again, this was a good panel. People had fun with it. It was a little noisy at points, just nature of the room. But I had fun with it.
I did too. I like game show panels, and there were a lot more game show panels this year, which I liked a lot. So,
just maybe if you're stuck in the same room next year, I would probably only put 4 on each team.
I think realistically, you only need about 4. There's still enough there that you can find incorrect definitions.
Yeah. I suspect the original format was 5. It's just, I think you're pushing your luck, cramming all of those people into that room.
So if we ever play this, would you want to be on the same teams or different teams?
Oh, different teams.
Duh.
Don't get me wrong, you and I playing together is always fun, but at the same time, facing off against you and something like this is also a lot of fun. But, yeah. But no. This was fun. Everybody seemed to enjoy it. I had a blast.
I was always amused that Josh always got caught when he told the truth, just because he got so excited about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because this is the thing, if you want to tell the truth, you obviously want to make it look like you're not telling the truth, so you pretend to look stuff up or be forgetting stuff, or you can double bluff and things like that, so it's very interesting to watch. And Josh was trying to do all of that. It's just Josh also just has that general Josh is just one of those very enthusiastic person that when he knows something, really wants other people to know because he thinks it's cool, and it's so sweet and endearing.
Yeah.
This is not me saying any of the panels are bad at playing or anything. It's just the point of the game is fun and comedy. So
yeah, just fun, wholesome energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that the point at which we took our break? Or?
Yeah, we took a longer break at this point because there wasn't anything in the next panel slot that really interested us much. And Key City does have a longer dinner break. So keep in mind, there's 2 breaks on both sides of their dinner break.
Yeah. So they basically have an hour scheduled as a dinner break.
And then 2 half-hour slots on sides of it that are also breaks.
Yeah.
So it's effectively a 2-hour break.
Yeah.
So we decided to kind of go back. I thought about changing costume for the evening because that was fun.
Yep. So we basically figured, okay, we'll head back to the Airbnb. We'll take a little bit of a break, and we'll, you can switch to a different costume for the evening, so that's fun. Because, of course, for this 3-day event, you brought 4 different ball gowns.
Yeah.
Because you have options. And we figured, with the way the timing was worked out, we can just do all 4 options. We didn't end up just chilling at the Airbnb and having a break, though. Because you realized there was a Wegmans nearby.
Yeah.
Nearby, meaning within a 30-minute drive. Which, given that the nearest Wegmans to our hometown is 3 hours away, a 30-minute drive is actually quite a reasonable time. And you like Wegmans stuff.
Yeah. I'm regretting going a little bit just because I heard a little bit about Asgard and Wolves with Disabilities into Tomorrow panel at 7 p.m., which I did want to go to. It's just one of those things for which talking in disabilities and con spaces can either go really, really well or really, really poorly a lot of the time. And while I trust Lady Wheels to manage that, like, I'm 100% certain that she has a very nuanced portrayal of disability and could discuss it very, very well. I don't know that always everyone in the con space kind of can.
Mm-hmm.
And after kind of last week's experience at Gen Con, I'm still kind of a little bit raw. So I decided that that wasn't really like...
Yeah.
It's just, talking about disabilities in the future is actually kind of hard to talk about because some people think that means curing disabilities, which is not what it means. But some people think that's what it means. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And I 100% trust Lady Wheels to have a nuanced discussion about that, but I wasn't sure that I was in the place to have a nuanced discussion about that.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that panel went wonderfully. So.
And again, like, the other thing is, like, with the best woman in the world, talking about disability is part of your job.
Mm.
You know, you are a bioethicist, and I've read your papers. Like, they do frequently touch on disability. You know, so I also understand that sometimes when you're doing a thing for fun, you don't necessarily want to be thinking about work.
Well, it's also just tricky because disability is something that's a very broad category and everyone can have very different experiences about it. And because of that, you have to be very careful not to take your own experiences to be everyone's experiences. Yeah. Like, some people want their disabilities legitimately to be cured in the future. Other people just want their disabilities to be modified to be cool. Some people might want their disability to just be the exact same as it is now. And all of those are really valid viewpoints. But you need to be in a room where everyone understands that those are all valid viewpoints.
Yes.
Because the key thing is having personal autonomy and letting each person choose what future they want and having all those possibilities open to everyone.
Yep.
Which I'm sure Lady Wheels understands based on conversations I've had with her. But it can be hard to manage a room of people who might expect something different from this.
Yeah, I get that.
Because I think some people still think of a future with disabilities as a future where there aren't any disabilities.
Yeah.
And that's not the future I personally want, at the very least.
Yeah. Again, it's one of the questions that always gets brought up about Star Trek. You know, and it's the future. Why do we still have a character who's canonically blind on the bridge? It's like, well, no, he just has a device that allows him to accommodate his disability. Like, that's fine. You know, and there's always the question of, could they cure it? You know, why don't they cure it? And it's like, well, maybe they don't want to. You know, that's a complicated issue.
And to be clear, I'm very confident that Lady Wheels understands all those perspectives, so that I don't want to attribute any one perspective to her. I'm sure she did a great job with this. It's just, I wasn't really in a place to talk about it.
Yeah.
Although, yeah. Based on how it has gone, I do kind of wish I had been there. So.
Okay. You know, it gave us the chance to grab you some stuff from Wegmans, which otherwise we would have been taking a 3-hour road trip each direction in a couple of weeks, because I think you were starting to get a hankering for some of that stuff, and it's one of our go-to things if we have a quiet weekend.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how to have a quiet weekend at home where we do nothing.
Well, that's stupid.
Yeah.
So we came back for It's Gotta Have a Hook, which was this very weird game.
Yep.
That was very interesting.
Yes. So the basic premise of this panel was they had a selection of books laid out on the front table. They took 3 volunteers. They would then read you the title of the book, describe the cover art to you, and then also show you the cover art, show it to the audience, and then read you the back cover blurb, and then you would be tasked with writing the opening line of the book, and then they would read them out, and funniest as voted by the audience wins the book,
which was fun.
This was also the After Dark version.
Yep.
Which meant, among other things, they were just handing out miniatures of booze.
Yep, that you just shotgun before them, or in my case, just took for later.
Yeah, because, again, they did say the booze was optional. Like, you did not have to drink the alcohol. The alcohol was there for you if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So I did, in fact, do the shot of Fireball.
Yep. So yeah, full disclosure with this, a trigger happened and I started having a panic attack. I want to emphasize this was not the host's fault in any way, shape, or form. They did come up to me afterwards and apologize, they did not have to do that. I really do appreciate them. It was just one of those things for which sometimes you get a trigger point And then when you get that trigger point, you're not having fun, and then you're in this room of people at this really great panel, frankly, that was very well run, and everyone in the audience very game and having fun, and you feel like your brain's not letting you have fun, and that's a really frustrating experience, and it just kind of cycles back in on itself, which was not the host's fault.
Yeah. So I was trying to figure out like what the best thing to do to help you in that situation was.
Yeah, and I think we were also just not able to communicate as effectively.
Partially because it was just fairly loud.
It was a loud room, which was not their fault either. Like, I want to thank the host again for coming to check on me after the panel. I also want to apologize because I didn't really mean to ruin your panel anyway. Part of why we left was just I didn't want to ruin anyone else's fun or anything like that.
So we kind of dived out of this panel about the halfway mark.
Yeah.
Because you and I volunteered to go first. So it was you, me, and one other person in the first round.
Yeah.
Hence why I took the opportunity to shotgun a fireball.
And I want to emphasize this wasn't anything anyone did. Sometimes this can just happen for very, very random reasons, and it just happened to be now.
Okay.
So.
Again, the game itself was, I think, very fun, very silly.
Very fun, very silly. I wish I could have enjoyed it more. Like, I hope you do, if you happen to be listening to this, I hope you do this panel again so I can enjoy it more. Because you don't really need to change a thing about the panel. Just random stuff happened. And thank you for talking to me after if you are listening to this. Like, that's just such a unique thing about the steampunk community.
Yeah.
Like, to the point where this person went and found me. Like, they were like actively looking for me.
Yeah.
And I also really wanted to shout them out for approaching me and not you.
Yes, we've had. It's interesting. We ended up talking to Asgard and Lady Wheels on Sunday, and one of the things that they've commented on is if you are a person with a disability and a person with a disability's handler, assistant, lackey, servant, whatever, the person with them, people will frequently talk to you about them instead of just talking to them in a way that does feel like kind of insulting and infantilizing, and the host of this panel did not do that.
Yep.
Good job. Because we have had that happen where somebody has talked to me about you instead of just talking to you.
Yep. While I'm standing right there. This person did not do that. They came up straight up to me, shook my hand, talked to me about it directly, which, thank you. Thank you for treating me with that much dignity and respect. I want to emphasize again, it was not your fault at all. This was a great panel. I hope you run it more. Yeah. I'm sorry we can't review that in more detail because we didn't stay through all of it and I wasn't able to enjoy it as much as we did, but like, it was hilarious.
Like, people were having fun with it.
They should be. Like, it was great. The host had great chemistry. I think they were, like, they have the same last name based on the panel description.
Yep.
So I assume that they're a married couple.
I think so, based on some comments I heard.
And married couples have great chemistry, so they did a great job. And they gave everyone prizes. Like, they also just had a random box of stuff in it that you could just take stuff from.
Yeah, it was just like, because as I said, if you won the round, you got to keep the book. So we have a copy of that, the book that,
Yeah, I think that one was actually a decent book. Some of the other ones were like weird romance novels.
Yeah, I think it's called The Inventor's Secret.
Yeah, not to knock on romance as a genre, it's an important one. But you know, there are certain pulpy lits that are mostly just sex.
Yeah.
There are a lot of those.
Yeah, the one with the frozen caveman.
Yep.
Or about to be unfrozen caveman. Sounded a bit on the old, this is mostly just smut, but I'm sure it's fun, side, which, hey, I don't knock romance as a genre, even if you are talking about a book that is mostly smart. I think that is an important literary genre.
And yeah, sometimes when I get triggered, I can reset relatively quickly. I think it's just with the move and stuff like that, we've gotten out of our rhythm a little bit with communication on it. We were just out of a rhythm with communication on it tonight. Or last night.
Yeah, I thought it was one where I needed to get you out of there to somewhere safe.
And I didn't want that because I could tell that the panel was safe. So you kept part of the thing is when you're going through them, the noise, particularly because everyone was having a blast in the room, was very, very echoey. It was just reverberating. So I think to you, it looked like I kept having shocks of attack when in reality it was just sound. And I think it was just hard to communicate in that room because it was so loud.
Yeah.
So.
And again, loud we mean in this context is more like boisterous, like everybody having fun.
Well, it's also just one of those things where you don't want to bring the vibes of the room down if you're dealing with this. You kind of just want to get away so you're not going to bother anyone else or ruin their good time.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But yeah, I want to thank that host especially. This was a really good panel, and I thank you for doing that. That's the first time anyone's ever done that where they've approached me after a panel. Like, thank you. That just really meant a lot to me.
Yeah. So, we ended up ducking out of that panel early.
Mm-hmm.
Again, not on the panel itself. Kind of like went back to the car just to reset. We did contemplate going back, tapping out and going back to the Airbnb at that point.
But we're stubborn.
Yeah, like I did not want to go because like we'd kind of specifically come back to the con to go to like that panel and the panel that was at 10.
Yep.
And I wanted to stay for that panel at 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured if we could like get you to that panel, you would be able to reset.
Mm-hmm. Which I did.
Which you did.
In kind of a weird way, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
And I also want to thank our audience briefly. Like, it is hard for me to talk about some of the like more disability stuff on the podcast because I worry people are going to judge me or not want to give me opportunities or think that I'm a freak. These are words I call myself, not that other people have called me in any recent years. So thank you if you do or regular listen to this for, I guess, being supportive. And I assume not passing judgment on me.
Yeah.
Because as you pointed out after this happened, people can notice that you're upset and not be mean about it.
Yeah. Again, like you, especially when you're going through a panic attack, you feel like you're under a microscope and that everybody is judging you for it. And generally, in those moments, I will just tell you that nobody has noticed because that is easier to get into your brain in that time, as opposed to the more complex notion of, no, that they noticed and they're worried about you and they care about you.
Yeah, and the one thing I will ask if you are listening to this, like the thing that I think I'm afraid of the most and I don't want anyone to do is don't make the assumption for me that I can't handle something. Like, I get to decide what I can and can't handle. So if you're thinking about asking me to do something, ask me and I'll make the judgment call myself.
Yeah.
Also, like, if you ask me, there's a 99% chance I'll say yes, because I don't know if you've noticed this about me.
It's a bit stubborn, guys.
I say yes to pretty much everything.
Again, as we pointed out, like, you and Bridget in particular get into what we refer to as con chicken, which is one of you will be like, hey, I was vaguely considering doing this con, and it's like, okay, that would be like a 9-hour drive, but I suppose we could do it if you guys wanted to do it. Neither of you is willing to admit that it's a bad idea, which means we end up doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have fun doing that. But, James and I have both commented on the fact that, once it reaches the point that one of you has suggested it, we know it's going to happen because neither of you is going to be the one to say no.
Mm-hmm.
Like, unless an actual, like, conflict of, and something else ongoing that weekend turns up, it's going to happen. But yeah.
So thank you for this, for letting me feel safe. Yeah. So then we did Werewolf.
Yes.
Which was interesting.
Yeah.
Like, it took me a while to find the equilibrium of this game just because of how kind of chaotic it was.
Yeah.
And I mean that in a very loving way.
Yeah.
So Werewolf isn't something we generally tend to like playing because it's mostly randomly pointing at people.
Yep.
But I embraced the randomly pointing at people this time.
Yeah, this game was chaos.
Like, I think it took us a couple rounds to realize just how chaotic it was going to be. And once we were there, we're just like, nope, we're locked in.
We're just going to roll with this.
Yeah.
Again, I fully admit, I've not played a lot of Werewolf. The last time we actually played Werewolf was, for anybody who's not familiar, who hasn't heard the episode where we talked briefly about it, the University Gaming Society once a year does a 24-hour games marathon where they play games for 24 hours and they rent out they use one of the university buildings for it. And the rules for that particular university building are students after 11 o'clock or between the hours of 11 and I think it's 8 aren't allowed to be in there without a university employee present to supervise them. So because we live on campus, we drew the short straw of getting the 11 p.m. to 9. Or the
We're also I'm the youngest faculty member on campus.
Yeah, you are. And I think they were also cognizant of the fact that if they got you to agree to do it, they also functionally got me.
Yep, which meant we could trade off, which we did do.
Yep.
Who was there?
Because again, like university, like technically, I think it should have been a faculty member, but university employee is perfectly fine in this context.
Yeah.
So,
I think I'm still at the age where I can definitely do one all-nighter. Like, I used to be able to do 2 or 3 in a row. I can't do that anymore, but I can do one all-nighter now.
I don't know that I could ever do 2 or 3 in a row, but yeah. So,
Well, I think I told you about that one date I had in college where we're seeing, I think, Star Trek Into Darkness or something like that.
At a midnight screening, and you got the night mixed up, so
yeah,
you guys
we spent
turned up a day
24 hours
early.
hanging out.
Yeah.
Then went to the movie.
I wish you'd go to see a better movie.
Might have been the one after. I don't remember. Or maybe it was Wrath of Khan. I don't know. It was one of them.
Okay, it definitely wasn't Wrath of Khan.
Not that, like, it was one where they had was Into Darkness the one where they were referencing Wrath of Khan?
Yes, where Benedict Cumberbatch was playing Khan.
Okay. Well, I was like 18 at the time. Anyway.
Yeah. So, yeah. So the last time we played Werewolf was also chaotic because we were playing against students. And that game was hilarious for the specific reason that on the, Werewolf is very much a classic hidden role game where, like, certain people have powers in the night. On night 1, every single person pointed to the same kid.
This was in the college game we were playing.
Yes. So, like, the priest protected them. All the werewolves wanted to kill them. The seer wanted to find out who they were. Like, everybody who had a night-based power all targeted the same person. And, the person running the game was just like, so you find yourself waking up in the morning standing in, like, a nuclear crater around you and you're somehow fine? Because that happened, so, yeah. It didn't happen again, but it was hilarious. So this game was marginally less chaotic than that.
Yep.
Marginally. So this was a 25 person game. Or they explicitly said on the event schedule that the number was capped to a maximum of 25. Mm-hmm. Purely because I think any more than that, I think it would have been a fire hazard. Because at least in part, you're trying to sit in a circle, and you also need to keep the doors clear.
Yeah. And we still ran into, I think, some problems with room functionality.
Yeah.
Again, you just kind of had to embrace the chaos of this game. Because it's hard to run a game with this many people, and, like, not everyone understood how to play.
Yes. The big thing was, at one point, the werewolves tried to kill another werewolf.
Well, like, okay, so...
Twice.
We should probably back up and explain. So, Josh was running this. I will say the thing that they did very well is, like, they made it very atmospheric and very role-play. Mm-hmm. And it was very clear that everyone was in this room to basically role-play almost. People wanted to role-play more than they wanted to play the game.
Yes.
Which is honestly how I kind of prefer it.
Yep.
Although I will say, like, maybe with people who've played before, if you really want to make it more role-play, run a game of Blood on the Clock Tower. Oh, God, we should volunteer to do that.
Oh, that would be good with Steampunk.
Yeah, it would.
Well, your copy of Blood on the Clock Tower is apparently going to turn up soon. You ordered it like 4 months ago.
And they said it had a 2-week shipping rate then. Then it got put on back order after I ordered it, which I wouldn't have never have ordered it if it got placed on back order.
Again, you ordered it for the event I was just mentioning with the kids.
Yeah, I know. That was in March.
So, yeah, like, that, your copy is actively going to get delivered to our old address because we bought a house and moved. Since you bought it. We had no idea we were doing that when you ordered it.
Yep. We're not bitter or anything.
No, it's not stupid at all.
And they didn't even send me emails that was on back order. I had to look up their website to find it. And it's even more annoying because the artist because it's from the UK. Technically, the game was originally, like, made in the UK and it is manufactured over there. But there are literal copies in the US you can buy. I've seen them at cons. Mm-hmm. But rather than buying them, I have to wait for my stupid back-ordered copy.
Yep. It'll turn up eventually.
Eventually. But
anyway.
yeah, I'll volunteer to run it. I would definitely volunteer to run that at Steampunk Con. I think they would love that.
It would be good.
Yep. Okay. So, basically, Josh Space Station themed this, so we were all, like, going from Key City to our new colony, which wound up still being Key City.
And then there was werewolves loose on the colony ship. And the one thing that he did initially was basically went around the circle and said, okay, what is your name? What was your job in Key City? And why were you selected to come to this new colony? Which, the things that people were selecting were kind of hilarious. Like, we ended up with 2 barbers.
Yep.
Or a barber and a hairdresser.
We had a dressmaker, which was me, and a seamstress, which was the person after me. Which, in fairness, I think they'd already come up with that idea, and they didn't know what I was going to say. So, fine.
Yep. Now, I went with architect.
Yep. Well, I thought about being like, the AI hater on the ship is one of mine, where like my job was just to bully the AI constantly. But I feel like I would have been killed first due to the AI controversy or whatever if I said that, and because I was a werewolf, I didn't want that, so I just said dressmaker. Josh got a round of applause for everyone for my clothes, though, which is very sweet of him.
Yeah.
So yeah, Josh, I think does a great job at the theming. I do think he's still struggling a little bit with some of the roles because he forgot to call the Masons entirely.
So he did call the Masons, but he called them on night 1 rather than night 0. And I think you're supposed to do them on night 0, but who knows?
Who knows? That got fixed.
Yep.
The rest of it was mostly one very minor thing I would recommend is because he has everyone brush or move their laps to basically create noise at night, is just let the speaker or something like that create noise at night because of that, and then because he asked various groups to raise their hands, the people next to them could tell when they were raising their hands because their body movement shifted.
Yeah. Now, granted, I think this was more just an issue with the fact that
the room was kind of
full.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the 25-person game in that room was pushing a luck, which again, that's just a room size limitation.
Yeah.
Not a criticism of the game or the com.
See, I just straight up told you I was a werewolf because I knew it wasn't going to matter.
Yeah, I kind of already knew because again, I could feel.
Yeah, I knew you could feel, and I'm just like, I don't feel like lying to you for this long. You're going to know I'm lying anyway. We're married. Let's just go with this.
And again, the way we play werewolf is we try to do the stupidest thing to have the most fun.
Yep.
As opposed to Clock Tower, where we're actually trying to solve the puzzle.
Yeah. Well, it's actually harder for me to be on the quote-unquote minority team with the werewolves on werewolf game because I am worried about messing up the game for the people who actually want to play it. So I was mostly just being quiet so I didn't mess up the game. But then it turned out nobody actually wanted to play the game that way, so it was fine.
Again, there was a lot of just people role-playing for fun, and there was at least one werewolf.
There were multiple werewolves that weren't opening their eyes when we were supposed to, so the rest of the team did not know they were werewolves.
Yep. So you inadvertently tried to kill the werewolf cub, which you didn't know. Then you tried to kill somebody else, and you also got told no because they were also a werewolf. So everybody in the room was like, "Oh, okay. Well, those are obviously werewolves." But at the same time, do we immediately want to kill them? We should probably kill them immediately, but it still took 3 rounds before we actually go around the killing.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if people
too hard.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the role playing aspects or if people just were sympathetic or if people just didn't understand, and I think it was the combination of all 3 of those things.
Yep.
At that point, I just embraced the hilarity, though, after that happened. The person next to me, who was also a werewolf, by the way, also kept asking me questions about being a werewolf during the day phase. I'm like, you need to stop talking to me. It's fine.
Again, I maintain if you're actually trying to play a serious game, Clock Tower is better just because the mechanics are just better.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to just do some fun, silly role play, Werewolf is actually kind of fun for that.
Well, that's the thing about Werewolf is you have maybe one person this year who has information, but no one else really does.
Yep.
And because you're sitting in a circle and you can't move, unlike Clock Tower, you can't really convey that information to anyone who's important most of the time. So it's just randomly pointing at people. The game is just randomly pointing at people.
Yeah.
So, and once I embraced that, which was around the time that I think at some point, I was just getting kind of confused and overwhelmed, and somebody nominated me, and then you seconded the nomination, and then you voted against killing me.
And everybody was just laughing their asses off that I'd done that.
Yep.
It was like, oh wow, he's seconded his own wife, wow. And then I voted to keep you alive. And they're like, what the hell, dude? It was the funniest possible thing I could do in that moment.
So yeah, the other criticism of Werewolf I do have is just when you die, you're just out of the game, which is lame. Blood on the Clock Tower doesn't do it that way.
Yeah.
But I think in this game, everyone was just having fun role-playing, so no one cared.
Yeah, again, with 25 people, the other advantage of Clock Tower is because you walk away to talk in smaller groups, you get a little bit more to do, whereas, again, in a 25-person game of Werewolf...
Yeah, I think I walked into this expecting it to be a little bit more Clock Tower-y, or at least the college kids played Werewolf, where they were trying to do it at least a little bit in order. In reality, this was just a bunch of steampunkers role-playing, and the Werewolf was kind of secondary. And once I got that, I was on board. I also survived by saying I was tired and didn't want to play. Which...
Again, you did the old, I'm tired and I'm not sure, and I want to go, so if you kill me, I'm fine with it. Which, of course, led to a bunch of people being like, no, we'll keep you in the game. Yeah, it was hilarious. Yeah, the wolves ended up taking it, but like,
Yeah. Like, generally, statistically, they tend to. Also, there were like a lot of wolves in this game.
yeah, I have no idea what I think the breakdown of numbers was about 15-10.
Yeah.
Which, that's a lot of wolves,
Yeah.
but I think we successfully spaced like 3 of you.
Yeah. Granted, 2 of those you knew were.
Yeah.
I kind of like. I adore this just for how like. This is the thing is if you play Blood on the Clock Tower, you can encounter a bunch of people who are so strategy focused and so into the quote unquote meta that it's annoying. I kind of love this for being the antithesis of that.
Yeah. Again, this was just silly, but in a lot of fun ways.
It was. I kind of needed it, honestly.
Yeah. Like, again, I anytime I'm like involved in Clock Tower in any kind of like running capacity, which has only happened a couple of times, one of the things I will always do is the hunter has the ability to like use a one-shot weapon to try and kill the demon.
Yep.
And I always ask what weapon it is.
Yep.
And anytime I'm the hunter, I try to pick the stupidest thing possible.
You picked wrist-mounted dog launcher, and I had to pick up Emma because we were playing this with the college kids.
So and we had Emma with us. So you like picked up Emma, locked her next to my wrist, and then I fired it. You like tracked her across the circle to the person I just attempted to shoot.
She was so confused.
Yeah, but it was funny.
And then the person just stared at the dog and was like, "Do I die?" I'm like, "No." I've never seen anyone killed by hunter shot in that game.
I've seen one person, and it wasn't the demon. It was the recluse.
Oh, yeah.
Because they had to double check, but that is technically the way that rule can interact. So yeah. So no, this was fun. This was very silly. I wouldn't exactly call it a deep competitive game of werewolf.
No, but you can't have a deep competitive game of werewolf, so it's fine.
Yeah, there are people who are convinced that werewolf is like deep psychological strategy where you are reading your opponents like a book.
It's randomly pointing at people.
Yeah.
Also, I do appreciate the debates between the two, like, men on opposite sides of the thing for the werewolf that were like fighting each other on who to kill every night, where the rest of us were just randomly pointing to whichever one we saw first because we didn't care.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I did hear Josh frequently in the night going, needs to be unanimous werewolves.
Well, part of it is like it's actually hard to see all the way around the room, so like I couldn't even tell who was a werewolf for the entire. It was fine. I embraced the chaos.
Yeah.
I probably should have role-played more, but I was tired and was mostly just amused at people role-playing. I was happy to have my one moment of saying I was tired and wanted to go home and being forced to stay there.
That was funny.
So.
And I made it to the end. Like, I was on the losing team, but I did not die early.
Yeah, well, I was trying to get them to kill you every single round, and every single time they were just like, no, we want to do this, and I'm like, fine.
So yeah, again, this was chaotic but good chaotic.
Mm-hmm. So then we went home.
Yep.
Or back to the Airbnb.
Back to the Airbnb.
And for Sunday, we only had one official event on the schedule.
Yes. Do you want to talk costumes for today?
Yeah. So this event that we were going to in the morning was the Bearded Ladies Brunch with the League of Bearded Ladies, which I think is like a society that's kind of a real/fake society. Like they do exist.
It's a group, and it's
a group.
They are trying to kind of do more events.
Yep.
Which is cool.
Yep, and they are very clear about the fact that bearded lady is a title rather than a gender construct. So any gender identity can be a bearded lady.
Yep.
Which was useful for you today.
Yeah.
So I've done this event 3 years in a row, and this is the problem: is every year I've come up with like a very unique custom beard, and I just feel like I have to keep doing it.
Yeah. So the first year, you had worn your bejeweled candy skirt.
Yep.
And so we ran to a craft store, found a bunch of stringed sequins is not the word I'm looking for, rhinestones, and just stuck them to your face.
Yep.
And then last year you had a flower dress, so we went to the hardware store, found a bunch of flowers, and we stuck them to your face with eyelash glue.
Yeah, like fake flowers, which smelled horribly, by the way. They were not fun to have under my nose.
Yeah, sorry about that.
This year I decided I wasn't going to stick anything to my face.
Yeah, lightweight.
So I wore my story night dress to steampunk events, but it's been a while, so I wore that, and then I did a Starry Night beard that I was kind of looking up the makeup for all weekend. And I have done Starry Night, I've done a Starry Night face mask before that I face painted on.
Yes.
But I haven't done a beard yet. So I was nervous to do it because it is both easy and kind of hard at the same time. It's hard insofar as you're replicating a painting, and that's obviously difficult. And I don't intend for, my interpretation of it's very much meant to be an ode to it rather than, the painting on my face. Because I don't have the artistic skill level to do that.
Yeah.
I just try to get the colors and kind of the spiral pattern a little bit. It is easy insofar as that because it's impressionist, you want to show the brush strokes, so it actually makes it a little bit easier to paint and have gaps and things like that. And because it's basically color on color on color, because all the colors very much overlap in that painting, if you mess up, you just put more color over it.
Yeah.
So that, I think I'm kind of proud of how it turned out.
I think it looks great.
People always tend to compliment my dress more than my makeup, which I do get because of how noticeable the dress is. But I was proud of this.
Yeah, and you did get compliments on it.
Mm-hmm. Well, one kid said it looked like I poured frosting on my face, but they were also a child. So.
Yeah.
And I don't think they understood what the painting was.
No, they did not.
I thought that was cute, not actually.
Yeah. Yeah. So you were wearing Starry Night.
Yep.
And so the Bearded Ladies Brunch was the event we wanted to go to today. So you turn up, and there is a row of snacks.
Somebody made handmade. Yeah, they made handmade petite fours, which is a hard thing to make.
Yeah. So I got some snacks.
Mm-hmm.
I also got a mimosa, or a Bucks Fizz, as we call it back in the UK.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, was there actual alcohol in it?
Yeah.
Nice.
They describe it as champagne. For the love of God, don't pay actual champagne prices. Like ever. It's not worth it. Get yourself some decent sparkling white and you'll be fine, which is what they've done.
Yep. And I found out, when we were there, in fairness, they did, there was an app this year that did have panel descriptions. They might have explained this on the app that they had, awards this year, but I didn't realize it till we got there. They had a, best award the first year I went, and then they didn't do any awards last year.
Yep.
And then they did a bunch of kind of silly awards this year.
Yep.
Which is fine. I don't really think it matters.
No. They did several categories this year. So there was best full beard, best partial beard, best mustache, best stubble, most natural looking, and I believe the final category was most outrageous.
Yeah. Or ostentatious. I'm trying to remember which one it was.
It was outrageous.
Okay.
I mean, for that one, we can check.
Yep. Yes, it says most outrageous. These ribbons are very cute.
Yep.
Spoiler, I guess.
Yeah. So
we wound up sitting, we got some food. Calamity invited us to sit next to them, which was awesome. We talked about Doctor Who and various sci-fi shows.
Yep.
And it was very, very fun. And then the awards this time was just nominating people and then kind of voting / clapping / forcing people to take awards.
Yep. Yeah, there were several categories where everybody was like, no, it's them.
Yep.
The mustache category in particular, everyone was like, it's that person.
Mm-hmm.
That mustache is fabulous.
Yep.
And again, most of the beards were not grown out of natural hair. They were applied in some fashion, similar to yours, because that's kind of the vibe.
Yeah, it's meant to be costume beards, although if a person identifies as a woman and wants to grow an actual legitimate beard, I'm sure that would be welcome too.
They absolutely would be.
Also, people who don't identify as women and can also grow natural beards are also welcome. Everyone's welcome, regardless of how they got their beard. If they want to be there and have a beard, that's all that's really required.
Pretty much.
Whether homemade, grown, or whatever else.
Yep.
So yeah, mine was obviously painted on my face. You were also entered into Best Stubble.
Yep. Because I forgot my razor at home this weekend.
And in virtue of the fact that no one else did that category, you just won by default.
Won by default. Woo!
Calamity offered to enter against you just to make it a competition.
Yeah.
With their one chin hair. And I'm saying that because they pointed it out.
That's how they phrased it,
Yep.
Yeah. And everyone was like, no, you'll take a Best Stubble. I'm cool, thanks.
So yeah, we wound up having 2 couples that won awards just because me and another woman, I think, dragged her husband to this event.
Again, I like this event.
I love this event. It's so cute. It's so much fun. It's a very silly society generally, and it just kind of celebrates diversity in kind of a really fun way.
Yeah.
The only problem is I've got to keep coming up with more and more elaborate beards to give myself.
Yeah. Goodness knows what you'll do next year.
Yep.
I mean, it's going to depend at least on what dress you want to bring next year and all that kind of jazz. So yeah.
So after this, we went to do a picture together.
Yep, we did a group photo.
The one thing we didn't mention is that the vendors hall has like an old-fashioned photo-timey booth area.
Yep.
Where you can take pictures. You'd have to pay to like get them developed, but you can just take them.
Yep.
And the Bearded Lady Brunch picture is one you can just take for free, and you can then pay to get it developed if you want.
Yep. And they are also apparently doing a calendar of bearded ladies.
Mm-hmm.
So they basically said, anybody who wishes to volunteer, just go over there and do that and get your picture taken. So you did do that later in the day.
I didn't do it right away just because there was a bunch of people crawling around the booth afterwards. But later in the day, like right as we were about to leave and before I took my dress off, I went over there and took a picture.
Yep.
I wasn't sure which month to pick because a couple people had already claimed months. My birth month was already claimed, which absolutely fine.
Yep.
I don't really care that much. So we wound up picking Vincent Van Gogh's birth month.
Yep, which is March, if you're curious. So if you end up with a copy of the Bearded Ladies calendar, you are going to be Miss March.
Yeah, it's a full 31-day month. You get a lot of exposure.
Yep. But yeah, so again, that was fun. Mm-hmm. That was a good event. We also went outside, took some more pictures, and at that point, we were kind of looking at the schedule and going, okay, is there anything we want to stay for, or do we want to hit the road now? Mm-hmm. And there wasn't anything on the schedule grabbing us massively. No offense to any of the events running on Sunday, but
there were a lot more lecture-style events on Sunday, which is fine. It's just our attention span's kind of shot at this point. So
plus, we also knew 5-hour drive home. Wanted to get back.
It's going to take me a while to get this makeup off my face.
Mm-hmm. We need to look after our pets. Mm-hmm. I've got work in the morning.
I have a publication deadline.
Yeah, you've got an article to write, etc., etc., etc.
So we mostly chilled out and talked to like a bunch of people we wanted to talk to.
Yeah, like we basically decided we kind of go around, see if there's anybody we chat to, just say like bye and all of that kind of jazz. And yeah, we bumped into a lot of people. Which was good. Like I'm glad we had the opportunity to chat with some people and say bye to some people and all of that jazz. So, again, do we want to it's hard to review individual conversations.
Yeah, we might mention them in top favorite con moments, but this is when we talked to Asgard and Wheelsworth about disabilities, along with some other people there.
Yeah.
And I don't. Other than that, I don't really. It's hard to review conversations.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we could just kind of say, we talked to various people. We had a lot of fun. I'm glad we had the opportunity to say bye to a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Because again, I freely admit, I've kind of said it before, and I'll say it again. It is the people that make this community special, which feels like an incredibly obvious, well, duh, you dumbass kind of statement, but.
The fact that people know us now and are saying hi to us really means a lot to me.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, you build community one step at a time. And that is the thing. Key City really does feel like a community in that regard.
This is the thing, is people are asking us if we'll go to other steampunk conventions here, and this is the thing, is we want to. We
do. We were basically saying, oh, you're going to be a Telltale. I'm like, we'd like to. It's going to depend on a lot of factors. I'm like, yeah, no, I get it. Same goes for TeslaCon or Chicago City Steampunk. I want to do these cons, but the main problem with Steampunk is, generally speaking, we are driving a long way for a Steampunk con. There just aren't, for whatever reason, there aren't any in Ohio. Mm-hmm. We are going to a different state for a Steampunk event, because we used to do that Steampunk festival thing. It was usually just one-day event for us.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're doing it this year.
No, otherwise that would be something we're doing in the upcoming weeks, but I don't think they're doing it anymore.
Yeah, because I was actually leafing through pictures because I was looking for something, and I realized, it's normally last year we went on August 24th. Oh, and it's just it's not happening this year for whatever reason, which is a shame. I can't believe that.
Yeah, I know that a lot of cons are struggling right now. We were commenting that Starbase Indy also doesn't look like they're putting on an official event this year, although I'm hoping they'll come back in future years.
Yeah, they've not announced dates yet, and that's concerning at this point, when it usually is. So.
And it's hard because I want cons that aren't corporate cons and aren't just anime cons. There's a lot of drama in anime cons right now.
I adore fur cons, but fur cons are doing fine.
Yeah.
Most fur cons are growing kind of aggressively.
And I want this group to stay alive and continue. And I don't even, they're not bad as evidence with us about bringing in new people either. Like, we've been welcomed with open arms.
Yeah. Okay. Again, I do wonder if it is just the fact, because it can't just be the fact that there hasn't been, like, a mainstream steampunk thing for a while, because, like, there hasn't been a mainstream furry thing either.
Well, sci-fi is also struggling, despite that actually being a genre that still exists and is popular. So yeah, I don't really know what it is about those types of conventions that... Is it just that people think conventions are just for seeing celebrities now, or what?
Maybe, but again, like, furry. And they are... Again, OhioCon grew by 50% this year. Not OhioCon, Antro, Ohio.
Yep.
Grew by 50% this year. Like, you know, so I don't know.
Yeah, I really don't know what it is. I'm hoping this one can still start thriving and be healthy. I'm hoping they made decent numbers this year. Like, I want these to continue in any form that they possibly can, because I think it's important. And it's not to say I don't think steampunk as a genre has problems. As Tony was pointing out, it does have a history with colonialism, but the thing with steampunk is because it's escapist, I want people of all nationalities, races, and ethnicities, and everything else to be able to enjoy the idea of time travel.
Yeah.
Like, I want them to be able to go to whatever utopian past exists and be able to live in that utopian past and not the real one.
Yeah.
And that's not to say I don't think it's important that we acknowledge the very extraordinarily real atrocities that many, many different groups of people have faced. We absolutely should. But the people who are still recovering from those atrocities should still have the privilege of being able to imagine themselves in a fun scientist steampunk costume outfit and imagine themselves as a brilliant inventor of that time period.
Yeah.
Like, I want that for them.
Yeah. And that's what the community clearly also wants. I'm like, yeah, some people will write books that are kind of alternate history that branch off at specific points and will, like, go into the problems that had. And other people will just create a steampunk universe from the ground up that never had those problems in the first place, so they don't have to deal with them. And hey, I fall into that category, so, you know.
And I think all types of representation are important. I want people to have types of interpretations where we acknowledge the atrocities and make characters who overcome those atrocities, who are from diverse backgrounds.
Yeah.
But I also want fiction that's just escapist, and where those atrocities just never occurred. That's why you need representation, I think, on both fronts.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. So yeah, again, steampunk matters, guys.
It does.
And I want there to be more steampunk cons. There needs to be a steampunk con in Ohio that's not a, like, 5.5 hour drive. Because again, like, we want to do Chicago. Chicago is expensive, and that's a 7-hour drive minimum, depending on which part of Chicago it's in. You know, TeslaCon, that's about a 9-hour drive for us, because it's on the other side of Chicago. Telltale, it's what, 5 hours?
Yep.
5 and change?
None of them are easy.
No. And again, especially once the school year starts up again, you know, time off becomes more precious to us in terms of, like, figuring out when we can take it and all of that jazz.
Anyway, that's a little far afield.
Yep.
We love steampunk. Like,
we do.
If I was going to pick one type of con, honestly, it'd be steampunk. I know for you, it'd probably be TTRPGs.
Probably.
Like, it is a tie between those two, I think, for me.
Yeah.
I am of just aesthetics, I'm the most a fan of steampunk.
Yeah.
Like, I love seeing the costumes every year.
That's the thing. I want there to be more steampunk events for us to go to that are not as far away. Like, again, I can throw a rock and hit an anime convention, but steampunk cons are few and far between and feel very, very special. And I want them to be more. Like, steampunk cons are the ones that okay. I've said it before, like, gaming cons I come away from, I don't want to run a gaming con, I just want to run more games at a gaming con, basically, as soon as I leave one. Steampunk cons are the ones I actually come away from and I'm like, I could run a con.
We heard a rumor that Steampunk Xena might be trying something. So, if she is, we will put that information on our podcast, because I think she's planning to start a Kickstarter.
Yep.
So if that does wind up happening, we'll put links in future podcast episodes, so you can, if you want to go to their event, let them know. Maybe we'll do one eventually.
Yep. New Concord.
We don't have to do it in New Concord, you know. We could actually do it in like a centralized place.
Yeah, I mean, granted, but we do have an inn at the university, and you and I agree that the university would not be a bad place to host an event.
Yeah, once the students take confused pictures.
Yep. So yeah.
Anywho, do you want to get to the we didn't do segment thingy?
Yep.
So a lot of panels. That we didn't do. Sorry, there were a lot of workshops. Dice, take and make, cut and print, mini journal making. A lot of these have additional costs, but those costs are just the cost of the materials because it costs people stuff to make them.
Yep, which is pretty common.
Yep. Tony did Why Your Tea Sucks. I'm sure you don't like tea, so.
Yep.
We talked about the disabilities panel. There were several performances, including Night Watch Paradox, Nerds, Knives and War Time Travelers performance, Field of Embers performance, Steam Cordia performance. Also, the Steam Cordia person is just there all weekend with their accordion, and they're great.
Yeah. We were walking down a corridor, and I was like, did I just get rickrolled by an accordion?
Yep.
Because I realized that's what he was playing.
They were also hosting an impromptu jam session in the hotel lobby at midnight.
Technically, it was only 11:30, but yes. Yes, they were.
Which was great. Also, one thing we should probably point out that didn't really affect us, but we did notice, is they did have elevator problems this weekend.
Yeah, apparently they were down to one lift at one point, which that was a problem.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's a way to get up to those upper floors other than the lift. Which, again, not on the convention, that's just it happens sometimes. Mm-hmm. Again, like, with the rest of the world, hotel lifts aren't actually designed for conventions. They're designed for you to basically go up to your room, be there for several hours, come back down, leave. Like, that's what they're designed with in mind of. If you're at a con, you will frequently go back and forth to your room a lot more. Whether it's just like, oh, I forgot this thing, or I want to go and get something, or I need like a 10-minute break because I'm getting overstimulated. Like, there's a lot more back and forth at a con than there is, any other, for a regular hotel. Which is not a criticism. It's just it means the lifts sometimes don't handle that as well as they should.
Yep. And one of them I do think was broken.
Yeah.
They did fix it by Sunday.
Yes.
Mermaid pool meetup.
Yep.
Horrible story time. Costume contest. And a bunch of various other things.
Yeah. As per usual, we kind of can't shout out everything that we didn't do.
Yep.
But there was a lot on.
Yep. Calamity was doing panels. If you have been to one of these events, most of the people we know from all of them were there doing their usual stuff and being awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Top favorite con moments?
Yep. Do you want to go first? I forgot whose turn it is.
I don't know.
I always forget whose turn it is.
I will take the bearded lady brunch.
Valid. I think Nerf dueling is always an absolute hoot. It was very funny shooting you.
Yeah.
At least Marks, I did it gangster style sideways just for comedy. I was not actually expecting to hit you with that first shot.
I will take the Just a Minute panel because that was a blast.
Yeah. And as per usual, we'll remind you these aren't in any particular order.
They're just random stuff we like at the cons. They're
yeah.
Not even really our top moments. They're just moments we think of that were really nice.
The thing is, there's a lot of these individual moments, so I am just going to take all those chances we had this weekend to just chat with people, whether that was Monty and his wife on Friday, or whether that was Asgard and Mighty Wheels on Sunday, or I adore these people so much, and I'm sad we don't get to see them more often or interact with them more. Again, they're awesome human beings, and I wish we could have more interaction with them than we got here.
I will take the fashion game panel. It was very unique. That hosted great chemistry. It was very fun. This is the thing, is you used your good one. That should have been the last one, and you used it for your second one. Okay.
So I am actually going to... Part of the problem is we didn't do enough of this panel, for me to know.
Just do it.
Yeah, I was actually really enjoying the start of the It Needs a Hook panel.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I feel bad we weren't able to stay for the whole thing.
No, but I feel like with how that person treated us and everything like that, that should be a top favorite con moment.
Like, it was a really good panel. Sorry we ended up having to dip early. It's not on you. It's not your fault. It's again, sometimes disability flare-ups can be a problem.
Yep.
So yeah. So the big question, the actual how we rate this con is: would we go back? And as the usual reminder for the audience, there's a lot of factors that go into this. One of which is like how far away it is, how expensive is it, is it, do you have a definitive answer on this one?
Like, this is the thing, is I know exactly what's going to happen, like, assuming that nothing else in our lives changes between then and now, which is still an if.
Yep.
Is we're going to hem and haw about it because it's 5 hours away. And we're going to be like, it's really long. We've already done a bunch of cons this summer. We're probably going to Gen Con next year again, even though we don't want to, knowing us.
Probably.
And then we're going to go anyway because we love it. And then we're going to be like, we definitely want to go back next year because that's exactly how I feel now. And that's exactly how I know the future is going to go.
Pretty much.
Where we're going to be like, we probably shouldn't. It's too far away. There's not that much of a distance. And then we'll get here and be like, this was totally worth it.
Yeah. I adore this con.
I do too.
I didn't worry I was having more fun than you this weekend, and I wasn't sure if that was just me misreading it, or you just being a little tired, or was I just overreading stuff?
I'm so confused.
Eh.
You look the same whether you're having fun or not.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
Yeah, I know. But no, I had a blast this weekend.
I did too. Like, I love all the magic's there.
Yeah. And again, like it does come down to the people. And look, here's the thing. If there were more steampunk cons that these people attended in Ohio, that was a shorter drive for us, maybe I would feel differently. But I don't get to see these people anywhere near enough. We see, like, if we're lucky, we see them twice a year.
Yeah. And this is the thing, is like, I really do just want, the thing I've still been wanting from steampunk cons that we just never have time for anymore is just like, I really do like pretty much everyone we've mentioned at this con, and I mean pretty much everyone, like, I just want to have like an hour-long just sit-down discussion with just all of them. Like, I just want to talk to them for an hour or more.
Yeah.
Or what's interesting in their lives or what's going on with them, and it just feels like we never have enough time to do that.
At least in part because, like, everybody in this community is so, like, to a certain extent, half the community is in the exact same boat we are, where we adore each other, but we only get to see each other, like, a couple of times a year. So, like, I think you and we managed to have a nice conversation with Asgard and Lady Wheels. We were trying to do that on Friday and Saturday as well, and they were just completely swamped with people. Yeah, and we're like, we don't want to interrupt that. We'll get them later.
Yeah. I've done it multiple times with a bunch of people. But yeah, thank you for everyone for making this weekend magical. This was a very good last con of the summer. And I'm sure next year I will forget how good it was and be like, do we really want to drive 5 hours for this again? And then I'll feel the exact same way next year.
You know what I've realized?
What?
This is the exact opposite of Matsuri.
Yeah, it is. Like you're right. It's the anti-Matsuri effect.
Because like Matsuri Con, every year we go and we're like, what was it about this con we didn't like last year? Like, I remember not really liking it. And then we get there, we're like, oh, yeah, now I remember. But it's super close and easy, so we'll probably end up going next year. Whereas this one is like, it's far away, but we're like, what is it why do we do this every year? And then we get there, we're like, oh yeah, that's why.
Yep. So yeah, the short answer is, yeah, we'll probably be there next year. Yeah. And assuming nothing in our lives changes, it is a year. A lot can happen.
Yep.
But assuming nothing in our life changes, we'll be there next year.
Yep. And
we're actively trying to find ways to work in more steampunk cons, because I need more of them. Like, the big ones I want to do are, I think, Telltale's definitely on the list.
Yes.
Tesla and Chicago Steampunk Expo.
Yes.
Are the ones that I've kind of been eyeing for a while.
Yeah. It mostly just comes down to time of year and expense.
Also, just as a PSA, because everyone seems confused about this, we've never actually been to Telltale. Everyone seems to think that we have. We've not.
We've not.
It falls at a very inconvenient time of year for us.
Yeah, it's kind of around the time you're supposed to...
It's around spring break, but not during spring break, which is a very annoying time of year for me.
Yeah, because you've got a lot of work to do around that time.
Yep.
And again, like, I don't... Again, like, Okay, I don't get a lot of holiday days because Americans just don't give decent holidays. Like in Europe, the amount I get from the university is actually considered very generous by American standards. By UK standards, you would actually be breaking the law. You would be legally required to give me an extra 8 days of paid holiday time.
Yeah, I think standard in America is 2 weeks, which you get more than that, I think, but not much.
Mm-hmm. No, we get more than that.
Okay.
Like, considerably more.
Also, just on the family planning front, because we work at the same university, like we don't even qualify for the full 12 unpaid weeks off. We have to split those between us because we have the same employer.
Yep.
For the record, I'm not pregnant.
Yep. But this is the thing you research when you are
considering
it. The other thing is our health insurance is actually not bad unless you want to add a child to it, in which case it sucks.
Yep.
So yeah. But this is not the ranting about our employers podcast.
No, we should probably stop doing that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should go back to Key City and the wholesomeness.
Yes. Again, this was great. I'm so glad we went. Like I already want to be at another steampunk event, which is usually what happens when we go to steampunk events. And I hope Urban City happens again this year. And I hope we do manage to make it 2 more steampunk events.
Yes.
I also hope somebody starts a steampunk con in Ohio.
Yes.
That's not us, because I don't have time.
No, or money. We don't have money. If you want to give us money, actually don't do that. Pick somebody who's not going to be as stressed out as we are if you do that.
Yeah. Yeah, if you give us money to start a steampunk con, that's just going to put pressure on us.
Yeah, we will do it, but it's going to be a very stressful experience.
I think that's how running a con is supposed to be.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah.
So we will see you next week for probably some random Ohio festival, or we're doing one of our non-con episodes that no one listens to.
Yeah, we'll do something next week just to keep ourselves sane. Heck, maybe we'll review the process of moving furniture around the new house.
Yeah. While we're doing it.
Yeah. I mean, I was running a D&D game while I was painting the shelves. Good job, that's a low-key game.
Yep.
So yeah, all I will say is thank you so very much for listening, and just to all the steampunks out there, thank you for being crazy awesome people.
Thank you.
And hopefully it won't be another year before I see all you lunatics again.
I hope so.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.